Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Hey-o! It's Tuesday. Tyvis is here.
Oh, I just can't wait to Sunday. Is there any way we could just skip to Sunday?
No, Monday, because Monday is when my victory will be complete over you. Gotta wait till Monday Night Football.
Ladies and gentlemen,
for the
listen.
beatdown.
I got a text message this morning. It was from Corey Crawford, and Corey was saying, good luck to all of you all because you're going to need it. Ooh. And it was funny because I'm looking at the message and I'm like, oh, Corey is a funny guy. And then I go check the schedule in the playoffs and I play the Yacht Boys.
For those who don't know what we're talking about, the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show has a fantasy football league. Last year was the first year, of course. I am the defending champion.
By the way, how did you sneak in?
I don't know.
Like, listen, I had dirt on your grave 3 weeks ago.
It was crazy.
I get done. I got buried early last year.
You know what happened? Who's Allie in our league?
She lost this week. That's what happened.
Like, all she had to do was score like 120 points, and Bull would have been eliminated, and she couldn't do it.
No, because the last playoff spot is most points. So
what?
That's how we do it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's a great rule. I've done that. I do that.
That's why I had to lock the fifth seat up because I'm like last.
I thought at one point you were in first, weren't you?
No, I was. We was tied for second.
By the way, G. Bush finished first, so he gets a bye. Mikey McNuggets was in first the whole season. He choked the last week.
I looked at the standings. I was like, "Dang, McNuggets, you
He dropped to third on the last week.
Oh my God! So you don't even get the bye.
Don't even get the bye.
So now you play. Your team's stacked, though. I've looked at your roster
in the first round. Yeah, I scored 190 plus points 3 weeks in a row. I barely cracked 100 this week. Same guys.
I think did I have 200 this week?
So no, you did not.
I was close if I did.
Shout out to Earl. Earl had a valiant effort.
Who finished last?
It came down to Monday night.
Leroy.
So what's the punishment?
He's got to sing a song.
Stand up.
Lift up.
What do we find an open mic place in Cleveland where he sings a song in front of an audience?
He's technically supposed to record a music video of him
dubbing
a song.
That's hilarious.
But there's no public embarrassment to that. I'm sure we'll air it. So
anyway, we'll keep you up to date. G. Bush and our executive producer Steve got the byes.
Oh my God!
And the first round of the playoffs is Tyvis versus the Crawfords, and me versus Mikey McNuggets.
How does this bread work? Like yesterday, they said, I said, how you get in first place? You get $100. You
got a $100 bonus. Yeah.
So I get that no matter what.
No matter what,
it's yours. So what was the buy-in?
It was
$100 a person.
So you're squash.
I'm good.
At worst case scenario, you break even.
I break even. Now, if you win, if I win this first round game,
you got to buy. So you're guaranteed top 4. But only the top 3 in the playoffs.
So I got to win the game.
You got to win the semifinals.
At least one more. Yeah.
Listen. See, listen. This is going to my wife can't tell me nothing fun. This can go anywhere I want it to go.
Well, I think what we should do for the sake of the show is we should play it out like you lost, so she doesn't know you're sitting on a pile of money.
Oh, she already knows. She knows.
She was watching. She's following it.
She has.
How much are we going to get from your league, G?
And now she has the PayPal account now. She been dibbling in the PayPal. Ooh. I'm like, listen, I gotta get me them little separate little accounts.
You gotta get you one of them overseas.
Burner phone.
I need to hide something in Venmo. Some of the white people gotta teach me.
Swiss bank account.
You gotta get those lessons.
Give me the hide in the Venmo. The Cash App has been compromised.
It has been compromised.
By the way, shout out to a woman. Shout out to a woman named Ann. I don't know her, but her name is Ann. She hired me on Cameo to do a birthday wish for her friend Lisa, right?
Oh my God,
so I did it, and she gave me a $100 tip.
What is the cost of doing that?
I charge $60.
Dang, you charge more than me.
I didn't even know you were on there.
I charge a dub. As a matter of fact, I got a request I got to do.
Why is G. Bush not on this?
Don't do it.
You should be on Cameo.
No, you should be on Cameo.
Don't do it.
I charge a dub.
Don't do it.
Is it like, what do you mean what you got to do? They just have you in there.
People, they say,
G. Bush, you're the man of the people.
Yeah.
You can't go charging to mingle with fans.
Yeah.
That's not your
mingle.
brand.
That's
It's not
kinda-
to It is to me. You're
It's not
doing
mingle.
That is
something-
kind of crazy.
Here's the
That
equivalent.
is kind of crazy.
If a fan comes up to you and is effusive in praise, love the show, and they want you to take time and sign an autograph, would you take money from that fan?
No.
Of
No.
course not. That's not your brand. Let it be these guys' brand. Your brand is, and I love your brand.
I'll just pull up.
You put your put your flag
you're
in the
right.
moon from jump.
Yeah.
I'm one of you. I'm a man
That's
of the people.
ridiculous.
I'm not doing what Bull did. $20 after taxes, like 10.
You got to pay taxes on that?
The reason
That's not. Why would you do that?
Why would I
That's
do what?
not worth the
Well,
effort.
let me
number
ask.
one.
Wait a minute.
Number
Wait a minute.
two,
Wait.
you're taking money from folks that worship you.
That's not true. That's
Oh.
not what's going on.
Worship is
explain it
very
to me
strong.
then.
So
Jay,
listen,
nobody's
hold on.
paying $20 or $60 if they can't afford it.
Wait a
I mean,
minute,
come on.
yeah.
It's not an issue of whether or
Yeah.
not they can afford it. It's the look of taking the money
I'm-
from people that have built you up.
Hold on. Wait a minute, because I don't like what you're doing. Hold on, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on.
You're gonna kill that
let me
guy.
let me get the camera.
The richest guy here is
Let me
out of
get the
pocket
camera.
telling other people not to make money.
No.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is,
I got to
what I'm
turn the
saying
hat
is-
around for this.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, I
Okay,
need to
how
talk.
much did you make from that last year? Ballpark.
Like maybe $1,000, maybe.
Okay. For the $1,000 of that would be 500 people. That's one. That's more than one a day that reach out to you and say,
1,000 before taxes.
okay,
McNuggets.
after taxes, it's far less.
60-second poll.
What I'm saying is, it's
should
not worth it
Bull-
for you.
Should Bull and Tyvus do cameo? We can ask
setting
the
it up.
people.
Well,
Set it up.
Well, what
And
happened?
also ask
I didn't
about
get to
G.
tell my
Yeah, you-
story.
Because, G, I really think you need to keep your lane clean.
Can I
I
tell
just-
my?
You're the man of the people.
I don't have.
Can I tell my story?
I got
Yeah.
no smut on my
That's
record.
ridiculous.
Tell your story.
Let me see the camera, Steve.
Poll has been started. When Tyvus' story is done, I'll read you the results.
All right.
So,
Wow, that's a
what,
quick
what
poll,
happened
man.
was this.
Flash poll.
I was never going to get on Cameo. But what happened was my boy Cardell, we was on the phone one day and he was like, you know what, you should get a Cameo. I'm like, I don't know nothing about no Cameo. He said, don't worry about it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have this lady reach out to you. You just give her your information and she going to put you on Cameo. I'm just like, okay, ain't nobody going to pay for that.
Right.
Nobody pay for that. So I was like, you know, how much you charge? He said, I charge like $30. I said, all right, well, I'm going to charge whatever, 20. I said, $20. I didn't think people actually was going to use
course.
it. I didn't think they was going to actually go to it and do
Don't
it.
listen to him. There's nothing wrong with it.
Listen, if you want to do it, I got another idea.
Yeah.
We've got a corner up here with a lot of traffic. Let's put a stand up there, and you guys can sit at it and sign photos for money.
Jay,
Would you do that?
Jay,
Sure.
No, you stop. Stop it.
Yeah, I would.
Don't denigrate
Why
us.
would I not? First of all, wait a minute.
You would not do that, Tyvus.
First of all.
Don't denigrate for the hustle.
He got you
Don't
looking like
denigrate.
Pete Rose.
Don't hate the hustle.
Don't hate
Don't
the
hustle.
Gee, you should do it. By the way,
What's the poll? Story's
End the
over.
poll. End the poll. End the poll. End the poll. 138 votes.
That's a flash
in
poll,
a
man.
minute. 58% said I have no problem with them charging for cameos. 41% said they should not charge for cameos.
That's ridiculous.
41%. I'm surprised. I thought it would be higher. Would say, go
What
ahead.
is the
do it.
thing? You don't have to use it.
That's
Not
fair.
for
No,
Yeah,
you're
I
not. You're not
wanna-
twisting anybody's arm.
Yeah,
They don't
I'm a
have
guy.
to
If
do
you
it.
come up to me and actually, like, I can't say it, but like Eddie hit me up and said he wanted a video done. I'm gonna shoot the video. I'm not charging him for it.
Of course not.
There you go.
Exactly. So
There you
Eddie's
go.
your
worried about.
boy.
Exactly.
But the thing is, like, I really, like, if you guys want to do it, that's fine.
I love the
But
conversation.
for G. Bush, who is so G. Bush, I'll tell you what G is. It's clear you have a marketing background. You've really done well in developing a lane for who you are. I can describe you very, very easily. Part of your appeal is that you are the everyman.
Yeah.
Your brand is I'm the people's champ.
Well, I got to say,
So
this is very,
don't do that.
Jay, it's
for
very
you.
insulting. You've insulted us. I've taken it as a personal insult.
Sorry you're insulted.
You know,
I'm just not going to put my hand out
You
for
make-
money.
you
Let me tell you something. It's not. I'm working. I'm doing things. I spend
I have no
time with
problem
people.
with it.
Unlike other people on
Yeah.
there, I actually give a good effort.
I don't doubt.
I
listen,
do it.
Bull, I don't
And let me
doubt
tell
for
you
a
something.
second you do.
I've
This is
done
the best
remote
segment we've
broadcasts
had.
for 12 years. I was in bars a million
love
times,
it.
way more than the rest of you combined.
There it is.
And I signed
Well-
a million autographs. And if anybody asked me to do a video in person, I've never said no. I've never done that. But
So
this
why
is,
would you charge on a website for it
because
then?
this is extra work. People are asking me to pick their fantasy football drafts.
Oh, I do that
or
too.
whatever. I put real effort into it.
I don't denigrate either of you.
Well, you
I'm
kind of
a
are.
little more surprised than you.
Wait a minute. Let me
But what I'm trying to protect here is your image.
He's like, I don't know smart.
Let me tell you something.
Don't. It could be right for look. It's to everybody.
Let me tell you
if it's
something,
right for
Jay.
you and you feel okay doing it, do
Jay,
it.
I'm gonna tell
But gee, be careful with that.
you opened my eyes to something. Before this show started, I was talking to Earl and McNuggets about whether or not I should go get therapy. And the way you just said that to me, it makes me feel like I thought I was perfectly fine, but you make me feel like I got.
Listen.
I need to go. I need
No.
Wait a second. You
That's
should go to therapy because everybody should go to therapy. It's very healthy to go to therapy.
But I think I'm fine though.
Everybody thinks they're fine. You're not fine. Everybody could use therapy.
Tyvis.
But
On
don't listen to
the
Jay's
therapy
insults.
front, if you don't think you need therapy, you don't need
But
therapy.
don't listen to Jay's insults.
Not everybody needs therapy, by the way.
Everybody needs therapy. The people that say they don't usually do.
Can I give you my?
It's not taking advantage of fans.
No, I've been raising my hand.
And not a single fan has ever said, "Oh, you're on Cameo. That's bad for your image or whatever."
Hey, by the way,
I think that's ridiculous.
Well, it's up for you to decide. You
Okay,
can
well,
decide that.
You
Hey, by the way,
insult.
this will end all and be all.
Yeah.
You don't need it.
Hey, shout out to I always say, man, never figure out how much money another man makes and how you gonna get it. To be truthful, I'm the worst. I got a T-shirt every week. I got T-shirt. I got hats. I will sell you a bottle of water with the Kool-Aid Mafia logo if you want it, right? So get your money.
But what I like about your hustle is there is a product involved. Not that there isn't in Cameo. I don't even know how it works. I just know people that have done it, and I've talked to enough of them that have said, A, it wasn't worth my time. B, there was a component to it that felt like, do I really want to do this? Do I really?
I think it's all about what
I
you
think that's
charge.
ridiculous.
Listen, it's all up to the person. What I'm saying
think-
for G is, I think what you could do is package it with product. So in other words, you're trying to move a product. Now that product cost you money, so now you're out of pocket. So that's fair. That's capitalism. You have a right to make
you
a dollar
should do it.
on that.
People would enjoy getting some videos, and I've got a 5-star rating because I go above and beyond.
I think I got a 5-star rating too, man.
It gets it done on
Yes.
time
Wait,
too.
what is your rating?
I think it's. You know what? Let me look it up.
Do you have any comments?
Yeah, I got
The
comments.
woman wouldn't have given me, and
All
I
my
brought this up
comments
because the
is
woman gave me
great.
$100 tip.
How
which
many?
is great.
I like bull. I put a lot of effort into my stuff.
Yeah.
I don't just
Listen,
throw
if-
stuff out
I would
there.
hope so.
And the
Oh,
only
yeah,
reason,
I got a 5-star with 10 reviews.
and the only reason I charged more, I originally was charging 20 or 30, and I charged more because if people do it on their iPhones, or Verizon or whatever takes this huge cut.
Is that
So
a
you
fact?
get screwed, yeah.
Oh, maybe that's why mine's be
Wait,
so
how
low.
much are they getting?
Hey,
I don't know.
we
They get a cut of it.
Apple-
So
How,
that's why
how
I-
much?
more reason
How
not to
much
make
they
them
charge?
rich.
How much they charge you to make that read, McNuggets?
It's a decent rate. My Uber rating's really good.
He
I don't
doesn't
have
get
a
any
Cameo,
of it.
but my Uber rating's at least a
Uber rating.
4.8. I want to dive into today's topic, starting with some injuries. And as always, our first
My
topic of
Uber
the day
rating's
is brought
5.
to us by FanDuel. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay red hot on FanDuel. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 you can spend on cameos from Tyvis and Bull if you win that moneyline bet and cash in on the bonus bets
Check it
from
out.
FanDuel. So if you've been thinking about joining
Thank you,
America's
man.
#1 sportsbook, there's no better time than right now to get in on the action. The app is simple to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL, an official partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And check out this winning bet on FanDuel from Ryan Zupan, who turned $4 into $514.50 on the Browns. He had the money line for Cleveland, 2 anytime touchdown scores, and Njoku and Hunt both cashed in, plus 3 alternate over-unders on Joe Flacco, all cashed, and Cedric Tillman over. He turned $4 into $514.50. You could be like Ryan Zupan and make a massive profit to spend on cameos for G. Bush and Tyvis and Bull and eventually Jay when he gets on there.
No.
So make sure you guys send us those tickets, and we appreciate y'all. But let's talk a little injuries.
Wait, I have one question. You
Yes.
had a low-key Uber rating flex that I think went underneath
No,
the
let me-
radar.
Oh, we see
What
that.
is your Uber rating?
A 4.8.
Okay, that's good.
That's funny.
I got a
That was
5-0,
very, no,
Mike.
that was very funny. I just wanted to call
minute.
back to that because I thought it might
Who
have been
didn't give
missed.
you a 5, by the way? So were you rude to the driver?
We used Uber all throughout
I got a
college, so this goes back.
4.86.
I got a 5.
All right, let's talk a little injuries for the Browns, though, guys. They have overcome a tremendous amount of injuries so far. We got news yesterday that Dawand Jones is out for the rest of the season and the postseason with a torn MCL. Grant Delpit, Mary Kay, who'll be on the show in a little bit, is reporting he may have to head to the IR with a groin injury. We don't have an update on Jordan Elliott, who is going through the concussion protocol. Ethan Pocic suffered a stinger. His status for the upcoming week is TBD. Guys, at what point, and the answer may be there is no point, but at what point are too many injuries too many to overcome for a team as resilient as this Cleveland Browns squad?
Not that many more.
I don't think there's any. I mean, the Browns have already lost most of their best players for a period of time.
Well, and what if they lost next week? If they lost Njoku, Miles, Flacco, Cooper, none of those are tipping points for you?
No, I mean, I think you've already passed the tipping point.
I think you might.
I mean, the odds of that are slim.
No, they are, but the question was at what point? Like, to your point,
Yeah.
we're damn close. And I think a lot of teams, if they were dealt the same hand, would have already folded. But
I agree with that.
and so, but I do think at some point, and I don't know, is it the Delpit injury?
No.
I
No,
don't think it
I don't think
is.
it is.
But there are guys that the guys that I just named, we can't lose those guys.
I think the tipping point for me would be if Martin Emerson got hurt. I think that'd be the final nail in the coffin.
particularly if Denzel
If Denzel stays out too,
I would
yeah.
agree with that. I would agree
If
with that.
MJ Emerson
because
got
that's
hurt,
such
I
an
think it'd
attrition
be-
to one unit.
Yeah.
That would be tough to overcome.
But I
There's
like
no one player.
No,
that's
I
gonna
like
tip them over.
No,
None.
I think that would
None.
because although I like the depth of this team, I think that this coaching staff has done a tremendous job of getting whoever the next guy in to come in there and play well. But I think that Martin Emerson has been such a vital piece. You know, you don't see a lot of passes getting completed on that side. He had 2 picks last week, which really paid to them winning the game. If he's gone, I don't know who their replacement is because you got G. New who's going to be outside for Denzel. Cam Mitchell's in the slot. Mike Ford's going to be outside.
Yeah, no, that's
and
fair.
I'm like, that's
G, do you agree with that?
I'm disappointed.
Just
in
because
you.
the
I mean,
attrition,
that's just terrible.
that's a lot of
All the
attrition to
spaded-
one group.
Hey,
Man, when you
tell me I'm wrong.
Hey, when
You're wrong.
Tyvus know this, man. When you start playing and you start to have an example in what we gonna do in front of you, you gotta say when people start to get to the point where it's next man up, and then the next man go in and play well, and then he out, and then the next man go in and play out. That starts to be the expectation level. That starts to be that's what we're looking to do. That is what we are about. And right now, the 2023 Cleveland Browns is about that motto. Right now, it's already established. It's already in the pipeline. When you've already had the example placed in front of you, we got P.J. Walker, and he won a game against the 49ers. There's nobody else that's more important than a quarterback, and we won with a quarterback that's really not even a professional quarterback. We've been winning that way all year. And what it does, it makes people who are just nicked up a little bit play harder. It makes people have to step up and say, listen, I know Denzel is out right now, but we called Greg Newsome out, right? And Greg Newsome had one of his best games last week because he said, I got to step this up. We called Zadarius Smith out. Myles Garrett is banged up. Guess what? He got it into the column of playing. Right now, this is, to me, I ain't going to say it's the team of destiny, but I think what's happening more than I've seen ever in my life is the Cleveland Browns actually think, and they're correct in this judgment, that they can beat any team and they got a great chance to go to the Super Bowl.
It's obvious there's not one player. Yeah, okay, if 10 more starters all got hurt, but okay, whatever. There's no one player that could get hurt that tips them over, and I'm stunned that you said that would be the case. Martin Emerson got hurt.
I agree with
so
him.
what?
I agree with the Martin
Now, I'm
Emerson.
surprised by both of you.
But I only agree with them if
Denzel stays out.
and Grant.
here's-
Obviously, that's 3 of the 4 of that position group.
What was
here's
Juan
the bottom
Thornhill's
line.
injury?
Here's the bottom line. They just Tyvus.
Calf.
Okay.
They just won a game against a very good team, did they not?
Yeah.
Okay. They did not have their best quarterback. They did not have their best running back. They did not have their top 3 tackles. They did not have their best cornerback. They did not have their top 2 safeties.
Nope.
I mean, what? Now with Martin Emerson, they can't win.
Let me
Give me a break.
Well, at some point, isn't there a straw that breaks the camel's
I
back?
don't think so.
No, so Njoku wouldn't? And
Jay,
so Flacco, Njoku, Martin Emerson, all of these guys know.
Yeah, if you told the entire starting lineup, eventually, yeah.
Okay, so there is a tipping point.
Wait a minute. Let me.
He said one player.
All
That's
right, so
ridiculous.
It's not one, though. It's three.
Let me tell you why I say Martin Emerson.
Yeah.
All those people was out. How
Yeah.
many turnovers did it take for Martin Emerson to help win this game?
Two.
So let's take away those 2 turnovers and let's say they turned into touchdowns.
Okay,
Ball
maybe
game.
Greg Newsome would have picked them off. Maybe somebody else would have picked
He had
them
one-
off.
he
Maybe
had
they would have
one
won
pick.
without those turnovers. We never know. They were up by 10 points.
I don't think that's the case. We lead the league in turnovers.
Giving it away?
Yeah, giving it away. Yeah. So the only way to beat that is you got to create more takeaways.
I don't believe.
Or you tell your offense stop giving it away. That's possible too.
So you think Kevin
don't it over, guys?
I'm about to say, you think Kevin don't go in there every week and talk about taking care of the football?
So you don't believe that you can see on the other side of the ball if you got a deficiency that you're not going to be more cognizant of ball
You
protection?
think they're not?
No,
They lead the league. It's not like they just so happen to just get to
I
last
just think
place.
it's crazy that you would think
I
one
just-
more
I
player
do.
could end it all.
I think if Martin Emerson goes
crazy.
down and
That makes
Denzel
sense
is out and Delpit is out, and you're replacing him with a guy like Mike Ford, I think that they would take advantage
I
of
think-
that.
by the way-
For y'all to sit there and tell me that y'all don't think that, and y'all sat up here and killed G New a couple weeks ago.
He
Killed
stepped up.
him.
He stepped
Killed
up.
him.
Before-
And he has one good game, and now all of a sudden y'all telling me that he's great again? Y'all need to cut this out.
Here's the
Y'all about to make me upset today.
Before the season, if I would have mentioned all the guys that are out now, we would have all said they were done. All of us across the
Everybody.
board would have said they were done.
But they have hung on. But I think the point here is, at some point, they become too much to overcome.
Of course, every team in football has a point.
And so what is that point? I think your explanation is perfectly legitimate, specifically because the back end of this defense is so vital, and they've already got 2 very important cogs out. 3 out of the 4 might be more
They already have 3 out.
It might be more
they
than
already
they can.
have 3 out.
Okay, then it would be 4 if Thornhill doesn't play next week.
By the way,
so if you've got all 4 of those guys out, and now your second team on everybody in the back of the
That's
defense,
fine.
next man up looks great on paper.
still gonna win.
I like Ronnie Hickman, and Ronnie Hickman plays well. Thornhill is out. Okay, cool.
What they got to do
Give
with
me Ronnie Hickman.
What they
Let's
got to do
roll.
with MJ Emerson?
What I'm saying,
I'm saying it's one player.
It's
They've
one
already
guy.
lost 1 million players.
Well, we got to
You know
go
what?
because
Y'all-
we have a
y'all
guest
right.
here. So, Mikey, I'm going to let you handle the traffic to make sure that we get this right.
Yeah, we have Charles Davis joining us, and the reason we have Charles Davis on the show is A, he's a brilliant football mind, but B, last week Leroy Horde told us a story about Charles Davis that we're going to play the story in case you missed it last Wednesday, then we can't wait to hear Charles' reaction to that. But this was Leroy Horde last Wednesday on Charles Davis, who will be joining us right after you hear this clip from our guy Leroy. Steve, play it.
Charles Davis. Hey, no, I ain't messing with him. Let me tell you a story. So here's what happened. He was announcing one of our games. It was Minnesota Vikings and the Denver Broncos. We were on our own 2-yard line. It was 3rd and 37. They give me a draw, and I go for 53 yards and get the first down.
Oh, my God.
Right?
You said it was 3rd
Here's
and what?
37.
37.
And you got
Go look it
53
up.
yards?
I got 53 yards on a draw. This is no lie. Go look it up. It's documented. So he says, that was a great run by Leroy Horde, which he always does. But I got to tell you, if that was Robert Smith, that would have been 6. he said this on air.
Was he lying?
Yes! Because here's the deal. That means that Robert would have had to get to the same spot I got to. And running back see things differently.
Yeah.
How many guys did you knock over to get to that 53? I can only imagine.
Nobody. I made them all miss, baby. Let me tell you something. Hold on. I didn't get touched. And I start running down the sideline. And I'm like, damn, I ain't even in the midfield yet.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody touched me and I just fell. Ooh.
Now, on one hand, he was right because it is documented. Charles Davis is a great sport because we reached out to him and said, Charles, you got to come on and defend yourself. And Charles, you immediately said what?
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
Hit him with the Shaggy.
No, got me on
Listen,
camera.
I am who Shaggy was thinking of when he wrote the song. It wasn't me.
So
I had a
because
coach-
you weren't even doing NFL games yet.
I had a coach tell me that in college. It wasn't you. Never, ever say it wasn't you. Eventually, they'll think it's someone else. It's like the great Chris Rock routine where you have that nice car you bought and you're out driving. Of course, you get pulled over, and the cop's telling you it's a stolen car. And you're like, no, I just bought it. It's my car. After 5 minutes of haranguing you, eventually Chris Rock was like, well, maybe I did steal this car. I'm not really sure how it all goes down, but all I can tell you is it was sent to me. Our friend Steve, who I've worked with, love him to death, he sent this and said, Leroy says that you called him out. And I looked at the date. It's like 1999. I was doing high school games in 1999. My first NFL game was way down the road. I laugh because I talked to Leroy since then. I was probably doing Frank Gore games in high school at that time frame. In fact, I did a Frank Gore game in high school in Miami where he put it on the deck 3 times in the first quarter and finished with over 300 yards in the game.
Oh, my God.
Okay, that was Frank Gore in high school, okay? But I wasn't doing Leroy Horde breaking 3rd and 37 draws at that time.
Well, let's get to the bottom
Have
of
we
it.
figured out who it is?
Yeah, well, we've got the
By
clip.
Real quick. Hey, Jay, real quick.
Yeah.
Leroy has told this story so often now. Now it started to hit him a little bit. Remember how indignant he was about, well, if Robert Smith had broken, that might have gone. Leroy actually said today, and it's on air. I heard it, and it's documented. Well, maybe he was right. Robert might have broken it. Robert might have taken it to the house on that one. So it's turned into a great story. I finally said, did you guys figure out who it was? Because I had a pretty good idea when I heard the voice. And I understood why there's a similarity there. I get it. And they said, yes, it's Ron Pitts.
Yes.
And Ron Pitts was a great football player. He was an analyst for the NFL. Then he became a play-by-play guy, which is very difficult to make.
Very
the transition.
difficult.
And he did it at the highest level. All right. I eventually visited UCLA on a recruiting trip. My host, Ron Pitts.
Nice.
No.
Later, as an analyst, working the booth in Fox games, Ron Pitts was my play-by-play partner.
Oh, my God.
I mean, we got a lot of ties in there, but it wasn't me. That's all I'm telling you. It wasn't me.
Well, listen, we have the clip, so let's play the clip. So we don't have the clip?
The run?
Yeah.
No, that was a line that we did not want to cross, legally speaking.
Oh.
Yeah,
Broadcast.
Jay, the NFL's got that one embargoed. And unless
We're with the
Luka
NFL
Doncic-
employee here. I don't want to break the rules with the NFL employee. Come
Hey,
on.
Jay,
Yeah.
unless you've got Luka Doncic with you, you don't want to go chasing that one. Just let it go.
Listen, we've been fighting that battle the entire time of our show's existence.
Does
It's-
that clip live
that
on
one go.
YouTube?
Never go against the family.
I
Never go against the family.
got a real question here. I'm a big Madden player. How did you
Yeah,
get?
Garrett.
How did you get the nod for the Madden game? How did that pop? Because there's a lot of people that would love to. How did you get that off?
Gary, you're asking me that question like you're saying, how the heck?
yeah, exactly.
No, like that. I'm
just kidding.
It's just funny.
Yeah.
No, it's like that's the holy grail. Like
It is.
when you got that call, it was like, dang.
Doesn't Jonathan Coachman do that too?
Not
the
anymore.
play-by-play?
No.
Coach used to do the play-by-play, I think.
Yeah.
No, he never did the play-by-play.
Was he just analyst?
He was like the halftime update.
Oh,
pregame,
okay.
that sort of a deal. The coach was doing that, but he wasn't doing play-by-play. In a nutshell, Garrett, it's a great question because when I told my dad I got it, he said essentially, how the heck did they pick you? My dad, like, what? He said, I need to talk to some people. It had been Phil Simms and Jim Nantz for a long time. Obviously, Coach Madden did it in the beginning with Pat Summerall. We've had great announcers like Brad Nessler, Gus Johnson, right down the line. Of course, they had the college game, which is coming back.
Yes, sir.
But they had wanted now at this point to be able to move forward with the game And Garrett is a longtime player. You remember when you used to buy the game in the summer, but the game was the game was the game was the game, and so you learned it very quickly. And after about 2 weeks, you knew exactly what we were going to say. Now,
absolutely.
I'm not saying that a player who plays it now doesn't anticipate what lines are going to hit, but there are more of them. We have more tape and things that we're doing. Plus, for the longest time, we would come in on Monday after a Sunday game, Monday and Tuesday, and put new lines into the game that the player could access on Wednesday, Thursday.
Wow,
Every week you had fresh commentary, and they needed people who could do that. Jim, Phil, they're big-time guys. They got a lot going on. I was just a minnow. I had nothing going on. So myself and Brandon, we became those guys who would come in and do that, and this is our 8th year doing it.
Yeah.
Now, they're going to expand, Garrett. I don't know if you've seen it, heard it yet. There are going to be multiple announced teams going forward. So that gives you an opportunity to change up who you're listening to.
That's crazy.
I think at this point, a lot of people would say, if I hear Davis's voice one more time, I'm going to do something that's going to get me in trouble. So I get it. It's been a heck of a run. Right. It's the Holy Grail. It's a franchise can you believe we're connected with Madden? I mean, that's Coach Madden's franchise. We are very fortunate. But I'll leave you with this. Very few players knew it was me. I talk to players every week getting ready for a game. In 8 years, I've had 3 players mention, hey, are you the Madden guy? That's it.
Oh, wow.
What?
That is stunning. How to play?
Well, the bottom line is, guys, we're not in the game. It's our voices.
Yeah.
Garrett can tell you.
That's true.
There's one pop-up thing that may come up if you're not a great player and you let it roll through.
Yeah.
The great players scroll through quickly.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
the rest of the time, it's just a voice. And I had actually Jalen Hurts about 2 seasons ago. I was asking him questions. He said, "Hold on a minute, I know that voice." That's one of the few times that has happened.
Dang, that's crazy.
You know, Charles, we always talk about chemistry when it comes to teams. People don't talk about it as much with broadcasters. I know your partner, Ian Eagle, a little bit because we both started at the same radio station in New York.
Oh, yeah.
And he was on my podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I said to him, that I loved you and Charles and Evan. I think you guys are a great team. I like when you guys call the game. You're my favorites on CBS. And he said in particular he thought that you and he together hit your stride completely this year with your chemistry. And I don't know that fans really think about chemistry of broadcasters, but you guys have a good time. I noticed this year you're busting Evan's balls quite a bit, it's funny. You guys have a really good chemistry right now. It's got to be a lot of fun doing the games.
Yeah, I feel very fortunate, obviously, to be with him and Evan, obviously. Now, we came together COVID year.
Yeah.
So we didn't get a chance to spend any time together as a group in person, because that's what you would normally do. I would have flown to New Jersey to visit with him. I would have done all those things, but we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
We didn't even do a rehearsal game. The first game we did was Cleveland at Baltimore season opener 2020. First time we ever did anything as a ball game. But what we did in advance was we got together over Zoom. And to show you just how cheap we all are, we didn't buy the extended time Zoom.
Come on now.
It was me, Ian, and Evan. And then we later included in our producer and director. And we would just sit and talk for 45 minutes and became a game to see when the 45 minutes ran out, who was talking, and that face you make when the camera freezes. And all of a sudden, so Ian, I'm going to come.
Worthy.
That's what we did to get to know each other. But I think you're right. Just over time, it grows. Now, can you fake it in the booth? Absolutely, you can. There are legendary stories, which I know you guys all know and have heard, and maybe even know some people, where those partners didn't get along very well.
Sure.
And for the most part at home, people don't know. I remember one years and years ago where they were in a meeting and the one partner had had enough, and the partner kind of, the top partner had said something in the meeting. The other partner said, "You know something? I've taken your nonsense for 10 years. I'm going to kick your right now." Actually, went over
out the names.
Go get it. I'm old enough to remember those old cop shows where the names will remain unnamed to protect the innocent.
Yeah, that's well said.
Good idea.
You don't want to be the guy that leaks that one. Hey, what's your take on the Browns? We were having a discussion before we brought you in. This team has just
Yeah, I
been
heard it.
steamrolled by injuries, and now they've got a couple more that they're looking at. How do you judge them in the in the wide look of the league, how they fit in and what they're doing this year?
I don't want to say I discount injuries, but it's the way of the league. And this is where now I heard I heard a good portion of your discussion. I thought it was really good because it's the age-old. Is there a tipping point? Is there one person that can cause this thing to crumble? Or is it always just next man up and you figure out a way, which is what Cleveland has been doing? I also think you got to start looking at that front office with Andrew Berry and saying, okay, there are guys who are filling in. You're getting them. Then you go to Stefanski and his staff and how they're coaching them to have them ready to go because they're actually getting good play from people. This isn't just simply we've got to work around everything because some of the things you can't work around, they have to just jump up and play. I heard the conversation about MJ Emerson, and if you've heard me do a ball game, you might think the Emersons are going to have to invite me to their family reunion.
They might have to invite all of us.
I've been crazy about him for a long time and thought that he was not getting his due. And it's understandable when Denzel's on the other side and playing as well as he has this year. But we saw Martin Emerson at his best on Sunday. But we saw others at their best. Thornhill goes out. Who's ever talking about Rocket Harrison?
Right.
I mean, he jumped in and played very well for them. Remember, he was an All-American safety who just somehow slid through the cracks and didn't get drafted, and it happens every year. But he didn't get discouraged. He got himself ready to go, and he played a heck of a game on Sunday. So, as I said, I'm not discounting injuries. Everyone has them, and in this league, no one cares. Who are you showing up with on Sunday, and are you going to play to the level you need to play? Look, Joe Flacco is 137 years old, okay? And he's giving them really good play. And not only is he giving them good play, you guys are there. Tell me you don't see an air of confidence around that team
100%.
that maybe you didn't see 2 weeks ago.
And it's growing. It's growing.
Yeah.
And it
No
should
doubt.
be. It absolutely should be. I knew the arm would be there. Listen, the old argument is Joe Flacco elite? The arm's always elite. Who Joe Flacco is as a person is elite, and they have tapped into that. And I thought on Sunday he showed all the reasons why if the Browns don't get exactly where they want to go, I don't think it's going to be because Joe Flacco couldn't help them get there. This team has now elevated itself to believe, hey, we can win with this guy. Not that they didn't believe in DTR, but I'm just going to tell you what I think the difference is. When I watched them play with DTR, the defense played like they had to win the game. On Sunday, the defense played to what the offense gave them and played with a little more cushion, a little freer. The scores were different, but remember, Pittsburgh can't score. Okay, so that's a whole different ball game, all right?
Yeah.
In this case, they were able to play and say, guess what? If something goes wrong, we're good because our quarterback will find a way, and the offense gave them something that we hadn't seen in recent weeks.
Charles, realistically, I mean, they're sitting at the 5th seed right now, and they're playing so well. If the playoffs started, would you consider them to be the most dangerous team in the playoffs?
Ooh, who's sitting behind them at 6 and 7?
Let me look it
Seven.
up.
Well, it's all the way down to 11.
You
There's
guys,
about to say, so
right
many
now the
people in the hunt.
Steelers are the 6th seed, the Colts are the 7, but you got the Bengals, you got the Texans, you got the Buffalo Bills, all right there.
Everybody 7 and 6.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you the two teams that out of all that, and remember, I know Kansas City's lost 4 or 6. So do we really think they're out of it? No. Okay. Buffalo, we know the talent. They got off the deck and got a win that they needed. So they're gonna. Those teams are kind of like almost givens. Now we'll see if Buffalo can continue it. Miami still hasn't beaten anyone of note. Okay, so we got to figure that part out. But let's get deeper into it. Did we not give up Cincinnati for dead about 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
Yes.
That's over. They're back in it because they got that young quarterback who thinks he can play. And by the way, his last 2 games, he played. So now Cincinnati's back in it with their defense. I do think it comes out of the North. Cincinnati or Cleveland are the two that scare me because both of them can take the ball away on defense. And that's what would scare the heck out of me going against teams like that. That is how they play. That's what they're used to doing. Forget all the other numbers. Just take a look at the takeaways. That's the big deal for both of those defenses. And Cleveland got back to it on Sunday. And Cincinnati's getting back to it now under Lou Anarumo. So those two scare me. Pittsburgh's sitting in a spot right now that, one, we can't believe they're in, and two, do we really believe they'll maintain it? I'm not so sure they can, just based off of what we've seen all season long. Mike Tomlin, love him to death. But that offense, that's tough.
Charles, I'm curious. I guess the favorites right now would probably be Dak or Purdy, Lamar maybe Tua. Tyreek, sure. Who would you vote? I mean, obviously we got 4 weeks to go. It can change. But today, who would you vote for MVP?
Sitting here right now today?
Yeah.
It'd be hard for me not to vote for Purdy. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when you put all the numbers together, and I know it all started with, well, heck, he hit the right situation. He's doing this, doing that. Totally agree, right? In the beginning, I was kind of there myself. Like, boy, he couldn't have landed a better team. And by the way, Kyle Shanahan in his career, at one point we thought Nick Mullins was viable. C.J. Beathard was viable. He does that with quarterbacks. But when you watch Purdy in these last, let's say, 5-6 ball games, is he not making big-time throws and plays, tight windows, reading coverages? That deep ball he threw on Sunday to Debo was not supposed to be to Debo. He read the safety getting flat-footed and said, oh, let's take the shot and let it rip. Bam. Now, that's what I like about him. Yeah, the story's great and all that, but guess what? He's a legit player, and we're having that guy kind of emerge. And by the way, they're the best team in the NFL, in my opinion, right now. So it's hard for me to get away from that part of it, too, because he's had a hand in it. He is not just along for the ride. He makes them better. And when he's in the lineup, McCaffrey's in the lineup, Debo's in the lineup, Trent Williams in the lineup, and Kittle, I think they're undefeated if they start and finish games in regular season.
Charles, let me ask you a question that's in the same vein, but Gronk came out and said not a quarterback this year. There's just not one, in his view, that has risen to that level. And obviously, if you're going to make a case for a non-quarterback, it's going to be Tyreek Hill. And I think normally when guys get hurt, it sort of takes them out of the running for awards. And you mentioned that Miami hasn't really put together those quality wins. But watching that game last night and watching what Miami's offense looked like when number 10 was on the field and what they looked like when number 10 was off the field, I'm okay with a vote for Tyreek Hill this year for MVP. Are you?
I don't disagree with you, Jay, and I would understand it totally when people go there because he makes that kind of a difference in what defenses have to do. They scare the heck out of them. Tyvis came out of school, and in all my notes and ratings, one of the smartest safeties that I had evaluated because I never saw false steps out of him. He understood where people were coming from. He understood splits. He understood what teams couldn't do before the ball was snapped and put himself in position to make a play on what they could do. That's what the good ones do. That's what I loved about Tyvis coming out of school. This is what Tyreek Hill does to you, though, because you can do everything right, and he can still run by you.
Right.
You can do everything right, and he can still make the play on you. That's why, Jay, if anybody wants to go in that direction, I have no problem with it. But here's the thing. We are fighting a history.
Yeah, he's not going to win. No
I
chance.
know.
Never had a wide receiver be MVP. Never. And Jerry Rice has come through for goodness sakes. Okay? We've had Megatron with his season. We've had all that. Listen, the year Christian McCaffrey went 1,000, he was on a 5-win Carolina team and didn't win MVP.
Yeah.
Roger Craig went 1,000, didn't even get a sniff at it. It is hard to get away from quarterbacks.
It is.
And we don't have a defender this year approaching 20 sacks yet. So that's the next thing because that would have been Lawrence Taylor, Bill, T.J. Watt, Michael Strahan set the sack record. He didn't win it.
Yep.
It's usually a quarterback thing. That's why I kind of go in Purdy's direction.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thanks,
that's
Charles.
understandable. Hey, before we let you go, I've got to ask, did you arrange the gorgeous Christmas displays behind you?
Oh, yeah, it's pretty.
Or where did that come from? Because it's beautifully done.
I appreciate you guys seeing that, and that is wonderful. And I would take the credit if this was not recorded. I would pull the old. Remember the old commercials where the guy would get into the car and go into situations and they'd say, "Are you Dr. Galakowitz?" "Yes, I am." That would be me. But you know better. My beautiful wife Lisa has done all this and had some help from the rest of the family, but she does this each and every year. And we actually have another display on the other side that I can't show you, but let's just say that we like the holidays around here.
Yeah.
There's a rule
Nice.
that I can neither confirm nor deny that there might be 10 Christmas trees in here.
Hey, it warms up the house. And I thought that your answer should have been, it wasn't me, it was Ron Pitts. But we love it. It looks great. Charles,
if the Pitsy's in my house and I don't know it, that's at least a whole nother step.
hey, you're awesome, man. And we all echo Bull's sentiments. When we get your team on the call, it's a win-win for Browns fans.
Yes,
you're very popular here in Cleveland, and you do a terrific job. Thanks for taking time
Charles.
for us. And happy holidays.
Appreciate it. Hey, continued success to you guys. You guys are fantastic. Happy holiday season to you and yours. And hopefully we'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, brother.
Bye-bye.
The great Charles Davis.
Before we go to that, this is the funniest comment out of the scene. Somebody said, Jay's wife just texted him, when are you going to help me with that Christmas tree display that I asked you last week?
Listen,
too busy.
the last person in the world she would ask to help her with the accoutrements in the house would be me.
Yeah,
I carry them out of storage and just bring them up into the living room, and then I watch her work her magic.
Just put it right there.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, they don't want our help.
By the way, I think Lamar Jackson's being ignored for the MVP conversation. He belongs in that conversation. He's having a great year.
I think he's in it. Like when I read the articles, his name is mentioned. He's not the front runner.
I think he should be right there going into the.
Who is your front runner? Lamar?
To me, it's Dak.
That's who I was going to say.
I would pick Dak, but
it's hard to vote against Dak.
Yeah.
It really is, man.
No, the last 2 months he's playing out. He got a little bit of a slow start.
Playing crazy.
But the last 2 months he's playing out of his mind.
What happened when they played San Francisco? What happened?
Who won that game?
Was it San Francisco big?
I don't remember.
I think it was San Francisco big.
It was.
And that will come into the minds of voters because obviously
but they did the Eagles
But that
dirty.
was early.
They just did the Eagles dirty.
But so did the Niners.
But that was early in the season.
I know, but the Heisman conversation is a completely separate conversation. I think they blew it this year bigger than any year I can remember.
The Heisman?
Yes.
Oh, I agree.
I mean, I can't
it should have went
remember
to Penix, and I don't know how
I absolutely agree. I have no idea how
that's crazy.
Where was his Heisman moment?
I said the same thing.
He never played a meaningful football game.
He lost all of his
big games he lost. We've been told for years
It's
that
all
when Heisman
stats.
contenders lose, particularly in the big games,
yeah.
They be
they're
eliminating
out.
them.
Not only did he lose, they never played big games because he lost so many early.
You know what's happening?
But I think that the MVP thing this year is interesting because sometimes in the Heisman vote, they'll compare, well, what happened when Ohio State played Michigan?
Mm-hmm.
What happened when the Biaka Batuka faced Eddie George or whatever? It didn't cost Eddie the Heisman that year, but I'm wondering if there will be voters that look at the results from San Francisco down and say,
I'm not sure
Purdy
if anybody
outplayed
does
him.
that.
That's not fair because Purdy he had like a 3-week stretch where he didn't look good at all.
I think the MVP.
Yeah, but in the head-to-head, I'm saying.
I think
head-to-head,
the MVP voters are a better bunch. Anybody can get a Heisman.
You know
vote.
what
It's
happened?
ridiculous.
Brett Musburger.
Well, not anybody. But
Anybody. Just people don't even pay attention to college football.
If you're a beat writer in college football, you've won the award.
No, you don't have to be a beat writer.
Brett Musburger.
As a writer, you have to either be a beat writer or a columnist.
Musburger or
Dustin
Keith
had a
Jackson
vote.
is not in the game anymore.
Keith Britton, our producer, had a vote.
Dustin calls college games. That's why he had a vote.
But Keith Britton, my producer on the fan, had a vote.
Here's the thing, Bull.
A lot of
Still?
people
There's
have
like
votes.
1,500
Brett Musburger
I know.
and Keith Jackson used to be like those mainstay announcers used to tell you who was eliminated week by week.
Right.
But Musburger would be like, this is a Heisman moment. And you'd be like, oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it is, Brett. Yeah, listen, we're going to go. Now it's just, they just writers. And
This year was just one.
But to the NFL, I think to me it's three. It's Dak, it's Purdy, and it's Lamar. I think that's it. It's going to come down to the final
why
voters.
not? And why not? Why do people not want to vote for a receiver?
Because
What's wrong
the receiver's
with that?
not as important as a quarterback.
And to Charles' point, it is tradition. It's the history. Everybody looks at it and
They
says,
need their
That's
own.
crazy.
They need their
I
own
don't think it's
award.
tradition because years ago running backs would win and stuff like that.
Charles
They
said
need
that
their
it's
own
always
award.
been a quarterback. That's not true.
No,
There have been
in recent
Modern
history, it's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Not in the history of football.
They need their own award.
Who does?
Well, there is. There's an offensive player of the year.
Well, I think that's not fair because if Tyreek eclipses 2,000 yards and beats Calvin Johnson's record, like that's something.
Well,
that might not
What's
ever
their best
happen
win?
again.
Well, and on the team
They have
front,
0 quality wins.
on the team front, if his team, they're still in the running for the 1.
True.
If they make the playoffs, it won't hurt them. He brought up the case of McCaffrey going 1,000. Well, his team sucked. And they got 5 wins.
Yeah.
So
Don't they
eliminate
still play
him.
Baltimore? Miami?
What's that?
They
Don't-
do. They play Baltimore Sunday Night Football Week 17.
They
This
do.
would
That'd be
a-
great.
Well, that's his
I
chance.
think it's
That's
up in the air between Dak Purdy and Lamar. I don't think anybody else has a chance.
Dak Purdy and Tyreek.
Tyreek's got no chance.
Got a chance.
Nobody's voting for
He
him.
clipped 2,000 and he go
Well,
big against Baltimore.
what it drove home for me last night, watching the game with him on the sidelines, that Miami offense, I'm sorry, even with all the pieces and parts, they were pedestrian. They could not move the football. They were only ahead 27-13 because they were given a 6-yard field and an 11-yard field on back-to-back gifts.
That was what
It was up there with the
They
Browns.
choked that game away, man.
It was up there with the Browns. 2-minute loss to the Jets.
Boy, that
They were the first
Not
team.
quite as dramatic.
They were
but
first-
it was-
They had 1 extra minute.
Well, there was an onside kick that had to
that's
take
true.
place.
That is true.
The odds of that
But
working.
they're the first team to blow a 14-point lead in the final 3 minutes and lose without going to overtime.
yeah.
we went in
Yeah.
overtime.
We're
No.
gonna get to some PFF grades. No,
The Browns weren't down 14. The Browns were up 13.
Browns are up 13,
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
14.
not 14.
We're going to do some PFF grades. Before we do that, on Thursday night, we mentioned it yesterday, we're going to mention it again, but we are doing a live remote show, 7 p.m. at Caesars and Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Use the Sherwin-Williams entrance. It's a Cavs watch party. The Monsters are also home that night. Myself, Earl, Anthony, G-Bush, Jason, and Bull will all be out there. We'll be handing out some free swag, hanging out with you guys, shaking some hands, kissing some babies, and putting on a show. So if you can, come out and hang out with us at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. It's going to be a lot of fun. You guys have been asking for a remote show,
Yeah.
and here it is.
Couple
So
of
we're gonna do it.
clarifications. No, we will not be kissing any babies. I don't know why Mike keeps saying kissing babies because nobody's kissing anybody. You kissing a baby? I ain't kissing nobody's
You
baby.
can't ask me that.
Yeah, you can't kiss a baby. Stop with the kiss baby. And number 2, I'd rather not shake hands. I'm a bit of a germaphobe. I'd rather fist bump you. So don't put me in an awkward position. People put out their hands. I often feel guilty and I shake hands even though I don't want to. It's nothing against you. I'm just a bit of a germaphobe. I prefer to
We
fist
have
bump.
not made it clear enough if this is a free event.
It is free.
It is
totally
absolutely free. Come
You
hang
might want
with
to
us.
put that on there.
What is going on?
You don't have to pay the cameo price. We'll hang out. We'll sign autographs. We'll
Why do I
whatever.
not know about this?
Yeah, why
Well,
wasn't Tyvis invited?
I was told yesterday that
Yeah, no, you could.
it was too
We'll
far
talk
of a
about
drive for you to
afterwards,
make
Ty.
it 10 o'clock at night to go back to Columbus.
The Browns do that to me all the time.
Ty, we can talk about that afterwards.
Ty,
I
you
thought
wanna go?
Steve talked to you.
I don't know
but
what you're talking about.
We'll talk.
They're
We'll
gonna
talk
hang
about that.
out-
We got content to get to.
We'll get it.
We've already passed
We'll
off.
explain it to you off the air.
We'll talk to you off air. PFF grades this week. It's very simple, guys. We got Mary Kay in 5 minutes, so we're going to do this very simply. I'm going to give you 5 offensive players and then 5 defensive players. You guys have to rank in order of 1 through 5 how you think PFF graded these 5 players. All 5 graded well, by the way. So these are the higher graded players.
So is this a group effort? We have to.
Yeah, group effort.
Okay.
So let's start with the offense. Your 5 offensive players are Joe Flacco, Njoku, Kareem Hunt, Jerome Ford, and Wyatt Teller. In what order from 1 through 5, 1 being the highest, 5 being the lowest, do you think these 5 were graded according to PFF this week?
I think Njoku's 1.
He scored.
Njoku, Teller,
I gotta like that one.
Flacco, Hunt, Ford. That's my order.
I was gonna go same thing, but flip.
I have
Flacco.
Ford over Hunt.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Hunt scored.
Ford averaged 4.5 yards a ton.
Did he?
Yeah, but he did nothing on the other carries.
So
The 4.1,
wait.
they don't care about the average yards per carry. That's
So
irrelevant.
you said Njoku, Teller, Flacco, Hunt, Ford.
Njoku,
no,
Teller.
Ford Hunt, he had it.
You
I
had
have
Ford.
it Njoku, Teller, Flacco, Hunt, Ford.
That's what
my
I
order.
thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
I agree with
I
that.
think I might agree with that.
Let's go with it. See what it is.
So one more time, Bull, your top one, Njoku.
Njoku, then Teller, then Flacco, then Hunt, then Ford. That's my order.
So Ford and Hunt at 5 and 4. Let's see the actual answer here, Steve. Ford and Hunt were 1 and 2.
Oh!
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, who
Flacco
knows?
dead last.
Wow.
They're all pretty close.
Now, granted, these are 5 of their top 6 rated offensive players.
Sure.
So
They're all
these are
pretty close,
guys
and they're
who
all good
scored high.
grades.
I wouldn't say those were all great. I mean, that 68 is kind of like
68 is pretty good. That's a solid game. That's solid.
You know, his QBR was 38.4, I believe.
35 point.
35
It
points.
was, it was lower than I thought it should.
I like my guys
Yeah,
at
yeah,
70.
Don't that be messing you up too?
Dude, they're dead to me.
I mean,
QBR
well,
is not
QBR has
PFF.
nothing to do with
No, I know,
PFF.
but that's why Jay loves to bring up the efficiencies. I've had guys tell me the efficiency is one of the worst metrics you can look at. And I've also had offensive guys tell me that the QBR is a joke. So, I mean, it's
I like the efficiency. I think that's
here's
what's
the thing,
helping
when
Jake
we all
Brown.
graded Joe Flacco, we were across the board A's. All of us.
Right.
Yeah.
But
And
they're
also-
studying every play. We're
I
not
know
doing
they are,
that.
but we watch every play. And
Well, so do they.
I know, but like, so how can
Yeah.
all of us say A, and he gets a D?
Well, you
Because
didn't get a D.
68's a D.
No, that's not a D.
On a grading scale, 68's
Not
a
on
D.
their grading scale.
their
It's not
grading
a D.
scale, that
On
would
the
be like
100
a C,
scale,
right? C
68's a
plus.
D.
What's that?
On their grading scale, that would be 68
like a-
is a B.
It's
That's
a
like a B
solid
minus.
starter on their grading scale. It's a
I'd say
solid
it's
starter
on their scale. I would give it a C. I wouldn't give it a B.
But I do think there's a difference. Tyvus, you know, we'll see what you think about it. It's a difference between what the analytics say you are as a player, or based on what you are in real life. See, in real life, you can be inefficient, but guess what? If that's the best that your team has to offer, I need to score points. So who cares if you're inefficient? If you have no, like in basketball, people say, oh, he takes a lot of shots, he's inefficient. Well, listen, if I don't got nobody else on the team that can put the ball in the hole, I need you to shoot the ball. So it doesn't matter.
It's, still,
if you're-
it's not that it doesn't matter. There's just you take a little out of everything, right? Like, so there's value to it, but it's not the end all be all.
I look at
It's
think
adding
that's it.
another
Yeah.
layer of context.
Right.
I look at it like this. When they say like he's inefficient, I mean, for him, all it is something that he needs to work on. It's something he's not the greatest quarterback. It's something there that he's working.
What
Can
would
he
you-
be smart? Can he make better throws or be a little have his decision making be a little
I mean,
bit
I
better?
don't ding him for
but
the
I don't
pick.
I don't think
ding him
Yeah, I
for the
didn't get it.
pick.
But like when he throws the ball to me, I'd be like, it looks like the right read. Sometimes the ball is dropped. Sometimes it's just not. It's a hair off. Like
Do we know what the
it's
total
a little.
drops
It's like
this
it's
week
little
and last week?
things.
Last week I know for sure. This week I haven't.
What was last week's? Because I had
They
5.
had, they had 4 last week. So
Okay, I thought I had given, just in my count as the game was going on, I think they had at least 4 yesterday or Sunday too.
Do you believe that you can have I would rather have a quarterback who is inefficient but realizes that he has to throw that ball and he has to stretch the field rather than the check down Charlie that looks like his numbers are great.
I mean,
but you put your team in a position
I
where
think
you're
they
not
take
able-
that all
His-
into account.
Yeah.
His
But,
numbers is exactly what his coach said. He's not afraid to fail. He's going to take the shot, and sometimes you hit, sometimes you don't. But I mean, you got to take that. You got to take that chance.
He's playing good football.
I think he's playing great.
think that grade's fine. In my mind, it would have been a little higher, but how high would it have been? What would you give him?
Miss
A
70.
I'd have
75?
given 75.
Miss
Okay, so that's not a
75.
big difference.
I'm gonna bring something up with you guys that I talked with Jim Donovan about yesterday. Sometimes unorthodox, you have to be unconventional and you have to break the paradigm. I don't think anyone has done that as well as Bill Belichick has done that in his career. He did that well with guys like Mike Vrabel. He did that with guys in the secondary that he would then flip over to wide receiver. I was talking with Jim Donovan yesterday about how this team is all the drops, just the problems that we've seen with wide receivers. The catch that Martin Emerson made on the interception,
Which one?
the
Second
one
one?
where he had to dive, he left his
Okay,
feet.
yeah.
That's a ball that a lot of wide receivers don't catch.
Right.
And so I brought up to Jimmy, and Jimmy liked the idea. Take a look at that guy as a wide receiver. See what he can do. Use him in practice for a couple plays. Install a package for him as a wide receiver. Nice, tall, length, got good length. He clearly can run, and he can catch the ball. I would not be opposed to them working him into the wide receiver group and putting a package of plays in for him, like we saw Bill do on many occasions. With
I don't think
defensive
that's something
backs.
they're going to do.
I like that.
I
in the
don't
season.
listen. I don't think they're going to do it.
Yeah. No, but
I like
no,
that
I'm
thinking.
saying
I like the thinking.
threw
I
the
got no
idea out
problem.
to
I
Jimmy,
think that's
and Jimmy
something in the
said, yeah.
offseason that you would consider, trying possibly. Yeah, go ahead.
My only concern is this. I always give it to you from a safety standpoint.
Right.
You telling me that you're going to stall plays for Martin Emerson So if I'm playing safety on defense and I see number 23 come jogging in, you know what I'm gonna say to myself?
What?
Why is he in the game?
If you're who? One of the wide
If I'm
receivers?
if I'm playing safety, if I'm going against the Browns,
Right.
and I see number
Well,
23.
no, you're not going to throw it to him every time.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
on high alert. Like, why?
Sure.
What is this?
Right.
So
That's okay.
he would just serve as a decoy because
He could, and then you could throw him the ball.
By the
I
way,
don't think he'd be open.
I mean,
that
Belichick had a lot of success doing it. Who was the safety that he made
Troy
the wide
Brown.
Troy Brown.
You know who? The Browns are second in the league in drops. You know who's first?
Oh, they were first.
I'm about to say they were first.
Oh, I thought they were first.
No,
At one point
they're
when we looked,
second.
I thought they were first.
Yeah, they're second.
Who's
Kansas
first?
City.
Kansas City's been
Kansas
terrible.
City.
Yeah.
Terrible. Their wide receivers are.
It's an abomination.
It's
Let's talk about
Unbelievable.
the defensive players, though. Same thing. 5 players. You guys grade these in order of how you think PFF graded them. Let's
I
go
have no
Myles
feel for it.
Garrett, Martin Emerson, Greg Newsome, Grant Delpit, and Zadarius Smith. In what order did these 5 play? And
Well,
they all
they'll have
graded
Emerson
by the way.
fifth
Well, they got
because they're PFF.
Yeah. I actually believe that.
I was about to say
I got Greg. I got Emerson last.
we already know Miles just won, so
I don't think so.
No,
I
Not
think
this week.
I don't-
Zadarius Smith might be one.
I am not
I
putting
feel like
Miles
going
at one.
opposite of what I think, right?
I know, but because it tends to be
PFF.
go against the conventional wisdom.
I got Martin Emerson last. I got Zadarius
Y'all
Smith first.
sick. Y'all are
That's
sick.
not what you really think.
I put it on everything.
No, Martin Emerson got to be at worst third.
Okay,
G.
so-
Bush, I'll give y'all this. It was the highest graded PFF game of his career.
He got to be
So take that
I
into
at
consideration.
worst third on this list.
I got Emerson, Newsome, Smith, Miles, Delpit.
Ooh, Delpit last. He had a sack.
Delpit's been in the 90s this year. Myles Garrett is always in the 90s. Highest grade. I'm going to go with Greg Newsome. Greg Newsome had the best PFF score, which is why they didn't.
I'm not going against Miles. I'm sorry.
I'm not going against Emerson.
So we have 1 for Emerson, 1 for Miles.
I would go Emerson, Newsome.
Newsome.
I
and
would go
who'd you say?
Miles,
That's what I
Emerson,
said
Newsome.
too. Emerson, Newsome. You're going Miles.
Emerson, Newsome.
I got Newsome.
You're going that too?
Miles, Emerson, Newsome.
I got
you're
Emerson
going
at
Miles.
fifth.
I'm not putting no because you
then
know
I-
they love Miles.
When he
I
steps
got-
foot on the field, he gets a 90.
Exactly.
Automatically.
I got Zadarius,
he had a
Miles,
sack.
and Delpit
well,
as my 3, 4,
2-point
5.
conversion sack.
All right, let's see the final result, Steve. Let's take it. Miles was one with a
Told you.
92.
90. He's here. Give him a 90.
What's wrong with
All
y'all?
right,
Why
I mean,
would y'all
Emerson
think
still got a
that?
great grade.
It's the
84
highest
is
grade
good.
of his.
Zadarius got a great
I
grade.
had the first
Newsome
2 right.
Had an okay grade, and Delpit an
I'm
okay
surprised Newsome's that low, to be honest. Even
Newsome's tackling grade
yeah,
was a
he
27.
did. He did miss a couple of tackles.
that killed him.
On first contact.
That's crazy because in the slot you got to be able to tackle.
He's
really
not
well.
in
He
the
wasn't
slot.
in the slot.
No, I know, but I'm saying he
you
should
think he would
have the
that skill
ability.
set.
Yeah.
Oh, that was never.
he's-
That never matriculated.
What was his?
He's from Northwestern in the Big Ten. They tackle all the time.
Mike, what was his pass defense grade?
Newsome,
Yeah.
79.7.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good.
He really got dinged then on his tackling.
Yeah.
Was Cam Mitchell in this game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
What?
know what his grade was just by.
Did he play enough snaps?
Yeah.
Cam Mitchell, yes. Cam Mitchell played 57 snaps.
Ooh, wow.
A 48.8 overall grade.
Who's that other little
Maybe
corner
it's
they
just-
had?
maybe it's just hard
They
in
had
the
another
slot.
skit.
Mike Ford?
Nah, not with the lot.
Khalif Halesi?
Yeah. Like
He only played 2 snaps.
he played 2 snaps, which is great.
77.
I like him.
What was DeAnthony Bales?
DeAnthony Bell. He played 23 snaps, a 74.4 grade.
Okay.
No kidding.
Hickman, 72.7.
Go Bucks.
Shelby Harris, 42 snaps,
I think
82.1.
they found
Anthony
one in
Walker,
Hickman.
81.9.
They found one there.
You know,
Hey,
Buckeyes,
have we
the
gotten an
Buckeyes
update, Mike,
DBs
on
are
Jed
typically
Wills?
pretty good.
No,
Because he's
but,
missed 5 games now.
Yeah.
well, Mary Kay's going to join us here any second.
All right, I'll ask her.
And I'm going to have to ask her to turn her phone in 1 second. So you guys got to fill while I work with Mary Kay to get her shot set, and then we will bring Mary Kay in to answer those exact questions.
By the way, I think in terms of defensive player of the year, I think it's kind of wide open right now.
I don't know. I didn't know Khalil Mack led the
He
league
leads
in
the league in
sacks.
sacks.
Yes,
Where did
he
that
is.
come from?
I didn't know.
blew my mind.
I didn't know
I was like,
Kayvon
what?
Thibodeau had 13 sacks.
He got one last night. He's got
Thibodeau
13.
By the
Yes,
way,
he does.
that reminds me of 2 funny stories. I don't know if you guys have heard about this because you're probably not paying attention. 2 funny stories out of New York media, guys I used to work with when I get a chance to rip them. Number 1, did you hear about this incident with the 2 hosts and Carl Banks? Have you guys heard about this?
Refresh my
So
memory.
Carl
There's
Banks,
something there.
legendary player
Yeah.
for the Giants, great player.
Yeah.
He's been part of the Giants radio network for years. When I was working in New York, he was so nice to me.
He's a terrific guy.
So nice.
Yeah, I've met him too. I will second that
fantastic
100%.
human being.
Better
Great
than
guy.
Warwick
To
Dunn?
everybody.
Better than Warwick Dunn?
Dude,
No, Warwick Dunn
Carl
walks on
Carl
water,
Banks
bro.
once asked me for fantasy football advice. It was one of the highlights of my life. This guy's a former NFL great asking me for fantasy football advice. It was amazing. So Carl Banks, who's part of the Giants radio network, my old station, The Fan in New York, carries the Giants.
Yeah.
So he would regularly be a guest once a week with the new afternoon show, guys named Sal and Brandon Tierney. I know both of them.
Yeah,
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 I
Great,
work
but
with
know.
Brandon as well. I don't know
yeah.
Sal.
Yeah, yeah. So Sal was actually a producer when I was there. But
Oh, wow.
anyway, so they got into an argument with him over Kayvon Thibodeau. They called him a bust early in the season. And Carl Banks was like, he's not a bust. And they got into to the point where those guys hung up on Carl Banks, which I thought was way out of line.
Wow.
To hang up on a guest, you know.
Not just a guest.
Carl Banks.
It's on the Giants radio broadcast team.
And now they look even stupider because Carl Banks was right. Kayvon Thibodeau's having
When
a hell
did
of a
they
year.
say he was a bust?
Week 5, week 6, something
I
like
mean,
that.
hell, I remember he had a game last year in primetime, maybe a Sunday or Monday night, where he had like 4 sacks.
Right, he
and
was just a rookie last year. He's been hurt a little bit,
Plays
but he's
good
played
against the
decent.
run.
Yeah,
that was ridiculous.
So you're
but
right. It's first of all to hang up on him.
Totally out of
It's
line.
not like he's a caller from the Bronx.
Right. Yeah.
So treat the guy with respect.
That was
but number
ridiculous.
2, to your point, even more.
Yeah.
He's not a bust.
That's right.
And not even close to a bust.
No.
How you even get? First of all, you shouldn't even have the dump button like that.
That's
can't-
ridiculous.
You can't even.
I have fought when I was in radio. I got into big time arguments with a couple of guests. Brady Papinga, remember he played in the NFL?
Yeah,
He and I got into it big time. I would never hang up, no matter what.
No.
And he was insulting me, and I was like, "This is great radio. I don't
Sure,
care."
roll with it, man.
Great
roll
radio.
with it. It is.
The DeVito guy. What a story.
Tommy
Yeah,
DeVito.
Tommy DeVito.
I call him Tommy Cutlets.
Yeah, he was right
Did you
here.
see
That's
his agent?
funny.
Yes.
How about the agent?
His family. Every time they show his family,
It's hilarious. Did you guys see the agent with the hat? He looks like a mobster. It's awesome.
Is your mic on?
Why am I
Oh, I
not
was hitting
hearing
the cough
Mike?
button,
Yeah.
not the talk button. Sorry. We fixed Mary Kay shots. We're going to bring Mary Kay on.
Oh, I
The
gotta
whole
tell you guys
DeVito
the other
is
story later,
amazing.
but go ahead.
Save the DeVito story. But first, Mary Kay is coming to us today live via the FanDuel hotline as the weather gets colder. The NFL offers stay red hot on FanDuel, and right now new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than right now. The app is easy to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. And with that, it is our second Christmas guest of the day. It is Mary Kay Cabot, the Hall of Famer.
Hi, Mary Kay.
Nice tree.
Yeah, you got your tree up ready
You
to
got
go.
Christmas. You got Christmas in order. You told us
that.
last week you were working to do it, and you did it.
I'm getting there. I am getting there. There's not really very many ornaments on there yet, but hopefully by the end of the day.
Hey, Mary Kay, I was curious. I mean, there's so many injuries to talk about, but I'm curious about a guy who's been out a while. Jed Wills, I believe, has missed 5 games at this point. With Dawand Jones out for the year now, they could. I can't believe I'm saying this, but
Right.
they could use Jed Wills back. What is the deal with him? Have we heard any updates on him? Because he's eligible to return at this point, but they haven't, started the clock on that yet. What's the latest on him that you know?
We'll know more when we get out there tomorrow.
Yeah.
But the thing with Jed is I was originally told that it would be probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 weeks.
Ooh.
And so, they are coming up on 6 weeks. He has missed the 5 games. So they'll have to see how he's doing, as they move forward into this week. But, if it goes along the original time frame, they should be able to get him back for a few of those last games, and that would help them a lot.
Mary Kay, who's we know that they have Leatherwood and some other guys. Who's the next tackle up? They got Hudson over there.
He's
They got,
awful.
and he played. It was a little choppy last week. What is your insight on who would be the next guy they call up if they do need a tackle, even if somebody gets injured?
Well, James Hudson will start opposite Jerron Christian. So they are down to their 4th and 5th offensive tackles, and nobody expected that to happen at this time of year. That's unfortunate, and it will be a lot more difficult when they get into the playoffs and they start playing some really good defenses. Right now, that was a pretty, that was not a good pass defense that they played. They're at the bottom of the rung in sacks. They're 30th overall in pass defense. But, it's going to be a little harder as they move forward here. So they're going to have a better situation. They do have Alex Leatherwood on the practice squad. They also have Leroy Watson on the team. And so they've got some backup tackles. But, certainly nobody like a Dawand Jones. That is a huge, huge loss for them. And it's really unfortunate because he was probably, I would say, maybe the most pleasant surprise of the season.
Mary Kay, when you look at this secondary, you got Juan Thornhill who goes out, I think in the pregame. Denzel's been out for a couple of weeks. Hopefully he comes back. But they're still managing to get production. Will they all get healthy again? And what's the status on Grant Delpit? I hear he's going to the IR.
Well, I don't know yet if he's going to go on IR, but I was told yesterday that he is actually a candidate for IR. That means that he would have to miss the final 4 regular season games. Don't know for sure if it's going to happen. And they usually try to be pretty conservative with that. If they think a guy can come back or has any chance of coming back before that 4 games, then they're going to go ahead and avoid IR. So that's probably what they're going to try to do with Grant, is try not to put him on there. But it seems like it's a pretty significant groin injury. We watched him limp off in tremendous pain. We know he'll try to do everything that he can to come back. I mean, we've seen injuries just this season where it seems like there's no way a guy is going to play anytime soon, and then he gets back out there. Exhibit A, Trevor Lawrence. So, and Myles Garrett. So, we'll have to see how this goes. But there is a chance that he could miss multiple games.
Mary Kay, we talked earlier in the show about the attrition that this roster has suffered due to injuries. And Charles Davis was on the program. He said, look, it's the NFL. It's a gladiator sport. Injuries are the way of the league. And I understand that. I can't remember a season where there have been this many injuries, particularly to key positions. But I'm going to lean on your Hall of Fame experience here. You've been covering this team for decades. Can you remember a time when the roster suffered this much injury attrition? And we also talked about the tipping point. Like, is there a point where they just all become too much and there's one straw that just sort of breaks the whole team's back and they start succumbing to the opponent because of all the injuries?
Well, I think the one straw they wouldn't be able to withstand right now perhaps would be Myles Garrett. That's the one where you just really would have a hard time replacing him. The second leading sacker after Myles is Obo with 3.5. Right. So, and I think Z has 3.5 now too. So, you just don't have somebody else that can get to the quarterback like that. And I think it would be hard to get very far in the playoffs if you didn't have a Myles Garrett out there wreaking the kind of havoc that he does. So, Obo's got 4.5 now too. So a couple guys are starting to pick a few up. They got 4 in that past game. Myles has been stuck at 13. But, this is a lot of injuries, and I don't really remember, not in a high-stakes season like this, where they had so many injuries, where you lost your starting running back, your starting quarterback, your starting right tackle, and several others. So, this is a tough one. But, this team is resilient. We know that. And they're also pretty deep at a lot of positions. So, they've got winnable games coming up, and I don't think that they're going to try to use these injuries as an excuse either.
By the way, speaking of injuries, another quarterback done for the year just broke. Justin Herbert has a broken finger. He's out for the year. So now Easton Stick is going to start for the Chargers, which is a great name, and I think he's like the 54th different starting quarterback, which is mind-blowing. Mary Kay, there's another injury on the offensive line. We talked about the tackles, but Ethan Pocic got hurt. That's been the one thing. The middle of that line has been the rock. So Pocic would be a big deal. What are we hearing at this point? Again, I know you'll know more tomorrow, but what are you thinking about Pocic at this point?
Well, a stinger can be a little finicky, so you have to make sure that you've got that feeling back in the arm so that you can do what you need to do, especially at center. You need to be able to use your arms effectively, of course. So we'll have to see about that. The good thing for the Browns is that Nick Harris was supposed to be their starting center before he got injured, and Ethan was able to step in there and nail down that job. So this is an opportunity for Nick Harris to get in there and show that, hey, don't forget about me. I was supposed to be the starter in this spot anyways. So they have 2 starting caliber centers on the roster. They're lucky to have that. If Ethan has to miss a game or 2, they know that Nick can step right in.
Let's talk about the Joe Flacco thing, because there's a lot of malcontents in the national media that are making a huge hullabaloo about the fact that Joe Flacco is back on the practice squad, which they had to technically. Obviously, they have no fear of losing him. They must have an agreement here. But is this the week they finally sign him to the regular roster? And is there any story on this at all? Because it seems like some in the national media love pick on the Browns, and they make it a thing of this. What say you on it?
It's really not. I mean, it's a procedural thing.
Right.
If you have him on the practice squad, they have 3 elevations with him. If you have him on the practice squad, then he's not taking up a roster spot. So that's what's happening with that. And he's got 1 more elevation. And so, there's a chance that they will elevate him that 1 more time. And, and then after that, you sign him to the active roster. But certainly, Joe's not looking around to sign somewhere else right now. That is not going to happen. But, I don't know why people are making a big deal out of this, to the point where I'm probably going to have to write a little explainer about it. But, it's just, as Kevin said yesterday, it's nothing to worry about. It's just, roster bookkeeping.
Mary Kay, and I'm in the streets all the time. I'm walking around. I'm in the grocery store. I'm out here, and they pull me over to the side. They say, "G. Bush, why does it look like Joe Flacco is more comfortable with Kevin Stefanski than Deshaun Watson? Why does it look different? It looks like it's smooth. He's been here 2 weeks. I can't tell him. I'm like, maybe this is the offense that Kevin really wants to run." If someone asks you that question, why do you feel that it's he just got here, he has a 300-yard game, 3 touchdowns. Why does it seem like it just seems like those two are meshing when Deshaun and Kevin weren't meshing at that level that quickly?
Well, for starters, not to rain on anybody's parade here, but that was the 30th ranked pass defense, okay? And generally, when you have the 30th ranked pass defense, one that is without 2 starting cornerbacks on that particular day, you're going to be able to pile up some yards, okay? And Joe, of course, he's got 15 years of experience. This is his 16th season under his belt. He knows how to take advantage of those kinds of situations. But if Deshaun Watson had been in there, he was going to have a 300-yard game as well. It's not going to be every single week where you're going to find your tight end running completely free and your receiver running completely free. They were able to be overly aggressive in this game because they knew they could get the mismatches. They knew they could get the blown coverages, and they knew that they could pick on and take advantage of a bad pass defense. And that's great. That's what you need to do. I'm not taking anything away from Joe. They needed this confidence booster. They built up confidence chips. David Njoku needed some confidence chips. He needed to know that he could catch some touchdown passes and add to his total, and that will help him going forward. Joe needed to know that, that he could put some points on the board like that and, kind of warm up a little bit before you get into some tougher games and against some tougher defenses. So, to think that, that it's just another opportunity. Deshaun is never going to get the benefit of the doubt from people. That's just never going to happen. But to think that he couldn't have put up 300 yards on this pass defense, that's pure folly. He would have done it too.
Mary Kay, I need your unbiased opinion on this question. You have 1 vote, and your vote matters, and it counts. Who's coach of the year this season?
Oh, that's a good one. I've been thinking about this today, trying to think if I was going to write something about it or not right away. But, why not give it to Kevin right now? He's down to his 4th quarterback, and they are at 8-5. They're the number 5 seed under very trying circumstances. And it's just funny because, fans and talk media and talk radio and all that kind of stuff always has him on the hot seat. But he's doing a great job this year. And it's hard to hold it together when you lose as many star players as he has. And there was so much uncertainty even when Deshaun was in the lineup of, was he going to play? Was he not going to play? There was just, it was hard to have to throw DTR in there against that Baltimore Ravens team and, just 2.5 hours before the game. So I would go with Kevin. I can't think of anybody else that would deserve it more than he would right now.
I think it's crazy that he's so far down the odds. I got to see the updated odds this morning. But it's crazy to me that he wouldn't at least be top 2 or 3. I see Mike McDaniel ahead of him. I love Mike McDaniel, but Mike McDaniel's got one more win, and they've been like the healthiest team in the league. And he's playing in and for all the talk about the AFC North being disappointing, you look now, every team in this division's over 500. It's the only division in football. So he's done it with all the injuries in a good division. He should definitely be.
To be able.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mary Kay. Sorry.
Yeah. To be down to your fourth quarterback and doing it, that's a little different than, to be working with Tua all season long. So I definitely should be right up there. And maybe if he can collect a couple of more victories, which they will, they're going to win more games, obviously. Once he gets a couple more, maybe he'll start to get in the conversation, but he should be in it right now.
Mary Kay, looking forward, obviously everybody's playing the schedule game. That can be a dangerous game to play. But the log jam in the AFC, to think that we're 4 games left and there are 11 of the 16 teams that are over 500. I can't ever remember where it went that deep. As you start handicapping who these wild card spots are going to go to, all of the 7 and 6s, who presents the biggest danger to the field as a 7 and 6? Is it Pittsburgh? Is it Cincinnati, Buffalo?
Yeah, I would say, I tend to go with the quarterback-centric teams. So I would say that you're probably going to want to be wary of Buffalo. Would be the one that I would probably think of the most. But, now you can't rule out Cincinnati, right? No. It's pretty incredible what they're able to do with Jake Browning. And, that's going to be a big game at the end of the season with them. That it could come down, to that game in terms of what's going to happen in the playoff picture. So I would be concerned about them for sure. Pittsburgh, they sort of feel like they're on a little bit of the decline to me, just in terms of what they're able to do with their quarterback situation. But yeah, Indianapolis, the Bills, anything can still happen with some of these teams, and that's why the Browns have got to keep winning. They've got to keep, they've got to keep it up. They can't let up. They just, they've got to be careful about the turnover battle, because that's the great equalizer. When you should beat a football team, that's one thing. But if you're going to be turning the ball over, which they did 3 times in this past game, then you're not going to be winning those games. So they've got to be very careful about that. And also, you've got Denver, you've got Houston. These are teams that, that definitely could creep up on you.
Mary Kay, when you look at it, the Browns, I don't know why it is. Shout out to the fans that go, and I've been trying to challenge them for a lot of years to get that home field advantage. The Browns are a different defense when they play at home. They're lights out when they get turnovers at home. The crowd is loud. Is there any, I know it's small chance, is there any way that you see the Browns could potentially get a home playoff game in the playoffs?
They have to win the division.
They do have to win the division, but stranger things have happened there too, okay? Yeah. If they win, if they just keep winning, and every single game that they have left on the schedule is winnable. You know it, I know it. These are winnable games. If they keep winning, and the Ravens have a really tough schedule coming up. They've got probably the toughest remaining schedule in the NFL coming up, and they're going to have to just be in playoff mode from here on out. But if the Browns win and the Ravens lose, they can do it. And it's not out of the realm of possibility. Just look at the Ravens' next 2 games. The Ravens' next 2 games include, I think it's the Jaguars and 49ers both on the road is what I think it is. Yes. So, just even these next 2 weeks could be absolutely crucial for these two teams.
Boy, they caught a break in the Rams game. That would have been so nice.
Well,
man.
Then you're talking about a one-game split, and it's even more doable. But it's doable the way it stands today, for sure.
Thanks, Mary Kay. We appreciate it. Great stuff as always.
Sure. Thank you, guys.
See you next week. Hall of Famer, Mary Kay Cabot.
She's the best. Let me do this, guys. Let me run this by you before you go to Mike real quick, all right?
Yep, you're all good.
Bull, you were supposed to tell me some magic carpet stuff that we was going to be able to get the genie in the lamp. You going to give me some odds that make me feel good about the Browns having home game?
Well, let's do this. Let's say the Browns win out, which is not ridiculous. Usually I'm like, no chance, no chance. I don't think it's crazy.
It's unlikely, I think, but it's very possible.
It's very possible.
But
Let's
I
say
wouldn't
they
bet on
do.
it.
Well, when
I wouldn't bet on it.
Earl said it a week ago, and y'all.
We were killing Earl.
No way.
Listen, if anybody sat here today and guaranteed they're going to go 5-0, I'd still kill
He
them.
said there was an 80% chance. Even now, I would not say 80% chance of them winning 4 in a row. But I don't think it's crazy to think they could win 4 in a row. If they go 4 in a row, the Ravens either have to lose 2 or 3, depending on who they lose to. So what I want to do real quick, guys,
play the schedule.
Play the schedule game with the Ravens.
Right.
Okay.
Let's try to be honest about it.
I think they have to lose to Jacksonville, right?
I don't know
One
if they
of those
have to.
losses, I think.
We're not going to. I don't want to tell you the tiebreakers because I don't want it to influence you.
All right.
Okay.
This week, Ravens at the Jaguars. Who you got? Majority wins.
Ravens.
Jacksonville's not a good home team, so I would probably go with the Ravens.
Damn.
I'm going Ravens.
Go Ravens.
I'm drinking Kool-Aid, man. I ain't playing with
RB, you lost the vote.
Yeah, I lost the
So
vote.
Ravens win. Week after that, Ravens at the Niners.
I give you San
Niners.
Francisco.
I got the Niners.
Yeah, come on, that's nice.
Okay, so that's 1-1. Week 17, Dolphins at the Ravens.
It's at the
At Baltimore.
I got to go with the Ravens.
I got to go with the Ravens.
Yeah, I do too.
After
And then
seeing
the
them
last
against-
week,
yeah.
Ravens host the Steelers. I got the Ravens.
That's the Ravens.
But here's the question. Let's say they do go 2-1 but lose to the Niners. Will they have a chance going into the
I think one of the losses has to be to Jacksonville because the tiebreaker gets into
It's common
opponents.
it's common opponents.
Jacksonville,
But the Browns beat the Niners. So if the Ravens lose to the Niners, the Browns would gain a game there, but they would be equal on the Jaguars, and it depends the Browns would have beaten the Texans, so that's equal there. They would have picked up a game. It would go to the next tiebreaker. I'm not sure what the next tiebreaker
so
is.
possible, but it's like hitting a 10-leg parlay.
If I believe
a lot has to happen.
It's possible.
You know what? I believe if the Ravens go 2-2 and lose to us, we're all assuming they would lose to the Niners. There's no way
they
they're
lose
going
to the
2-2.
Jags.
If they lose to either the Jags or the Steelers, because those are common opponent games, and the Browns win out. Listen, you can say that all you want. There's been a lot of upsets this year.
I just watched the Tennessee Titans go into Miami.
And by the way,
Right.
there were more underdogs that won in Week 14 than any game this year.
Jets.
Let me see
Eight.
Is Kenny Pickett out for the year?
Yeah.
I don't know. By
Not
the
year.
way, Kenny Pickett has one more touchdown pass than Joe Flacco this year.
That is true.
Yeah, I
And that
saw
actually
that,
kind of
6 to
leads us
5.
both to where we're going
That's
next.
a
So
shame.
if they go 2-2 and lose to either the Steelers or Jags, and the Browns win out, I believe the Browns would win. The
Again,
division.
it's like an 8-leg parlay.
It
You
can
know, a
happen.
lot has to happen, but
Yeah. It's not
There's a
crazy.
chance.
It's
And
not
all you
crazy.
can ask for is a
happen.
chance. Guys, if you're watching, we appreciate y'all watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you guys haven't already. Do
they
us a favor, it
responded
helps us
in
out.
kind yesterday doing that.
Hit that
Yeah,
like
hit the
button,
I'm
baby.
telling
Let's
you,
go.
It does wonders for us on the back end of YouTube. And if you appreciate the content, you like what you see, do us a
Mike
favor.
loves
It's
the
free.
back end, so let's go. Here we go. Come on.
All right, we're gonna get to this next topic, and shout out to my guy Grant for helping me come up with this. But the Browns, we talked about injuries to start the show, have sustained a handful of crippling injuries this year, but they're still 8-5. Very few teams, I think, could lose their quarterback one and their superstar running back and still be in the position the Browns are. So, taking everything into consideration here, everything we know, if you could reverse, essentially undo a season-ending injury to a Browns superstar this season, would you undo the injury to Nick Chubb, Deshaun Watson, or someone else? But I think it's between DW4 and Nick Chubb. Jay, you want to start?
Well, I was shocked this was even a question. I want to see if someone goes the other way.
This is a very dangerous game you're playing here, McNuggets.
I want to know where y'all go.
So let me give you some facts. Okay?
Oh, Lord.
This is funny.
By the way, before
I
you
thought
go,
it was.
wait, JJ, hold on. Before
I thought
you go,
this was a layup.
it is funny that you guys all say it's a layup, but no one wants to go first.
I'd love to go first.
Nick Chubb.
Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer, Nick Chubb.
I don't think it's a no-brainer. I think the right answer is Deshaun Watson, but I'm saying Nick Chubb. But the right answer is probably Deshaun Watson. Because quarterback's the most important position.
You getting you getting good quarterback play right now.
The last 2 weeks, we've got nice quarterbacks.
The only thing
I know,
that's
but he
missing,
had 2 good weeks last year for the Jets and had to go after that.
But the only thing
what we know now,
is our run game. If we had a run game, I'd be so confident.
Yeah, we're talking about one of these players is, if not the best at his position, he's top 3.
I believe
Deshaun Watson is not top 3.
I believe that Jay Crawford and G. Bush said the Browns running game was elite a month ago. Is that not the case anymore?
Listen, I still
who said that?
They both said it.
I still like our run game.
Y'all said that?
Yes. I don't know that we said elite.
Oh,
I said we need to run the ball more. I've always said that. And I still think our run game, you're walking it back. You walked it back on yesterday.
Y'all said elite?
I'm dropping back. I'm dropping back in the bushes.
They used the word elite.
What did you say?
What I said was, I like our running game. It's like that the
Simpson one
slides back into the bush. This G Bush sliding back into the bush.
No, wait.
Jay's pulling the I didn't say it card.
I still think
when y'all said it, that was the week where they had 150 yards.
That was the one big game they had.
We was balling back then.
When I said it, they were number 2 in rush.
They was hot.
Or number 3.
They was number 2.
In rushing yards, they were top 3.
They was top 3.
What I'm gonna say right now, the reason I would make the case for Nick Chubb over Deshaun Watson is because if Nick Chubb was in right now, this offense is exactly what Kevin Stefanski pictures his offense to be.
Yes.
He wants to run the ball. He wants to run play action off of it. Just imagine if Nick Chubb was there and being dominant in the run game, the play action would be even more wide open, and Joe Flacco would make the easy throws. I mean, it would be a slam dunk. With Deshaun Watson, the playbook would be you got half of what he wants, half of what Kevin wants, and then you got to try to compromise in the beginning, and they just haven't been on the same page. It looked good for a while, but there still seems to be something missing where those two just aren't connecting 100% right now. But with Joe Flacco, he's doing exactly what it is that Kevin Stefanski envisions his quarterback should do. You give him a great running game, this team is a Super Bowl.
Now again, I feel like an insane person saying
I agree with
saying Nick Chubb. I really do. But it is Nick Chubb. Yeah, it is.
I mean, you shouldn't feel insane. I think
I feel
everybody
insane
says
because
Nick Chubb.
Well, Deshaun Watson, despite some struggles, has still played, in my opinion, the 2 best games by quarterback this year.
Really?
The Titans game and the Ravens game.
Oh, I thought Joe eclipsed that Sunday. He threw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Okay.
You think he played better than Watson in Tennessee?
Oh, no question. Yeah, no, it's not even a question.
He had 2 turnovers.
What are you looking at me? Look at the numbers.
He had 2 turnovers.
Who did?
Joe Flacco.
Yeah, the interception on him?
Yes.
No, it's not. No. Anybody that watches football knows that interception's not on him.
It was still a bad throw, but it was a terrible
It was a timing throw, and he threw it when he was supposed to throw it because the route got interrupted. That's not even debatable. That's not debatable. Look, you played safety.
I didn't see the pick.
You didn't see the interception?
I saw it, but I don't remember it off the top of my head.
Well, someone and more ran into it.
They showed an ISO replay of the crossers.
I'm about to look it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those interceptions. The ball's got to be out of his hand when he threw it.
I'm not saying that's a Flacco interception.
No, it wasn't. Now,
the strip sack is definitely.
He's got to feel that pressure.
Here we go. Hold on. Here we go. Right now, I'm about to see it. Give me a second.
The receivers run into each other. That's not on Flacco.
No, it's not on Flacco.
Oh yeah. No.
You can't dig him for that.
Nah, he should have.
It wasn't a good throw.
No,
tried to throw it in the dirt.
You know what he wanted? A string so he could pull the ball back after it was out of his hand.
He should have saw it, threw it. And just threw it in the dirt.
He's throwing to his spot. He knows he's got to throw it when he throws it. Now, the route was interrupted, and the receiver didn't get there, so it was a pick. Clearly, I'm not digging him for that. On the sack, yeah, he's got to feel that pressure, and it was, and oftentimes this is the case with a strip sack by a quarterback, it was a millisecond from being out of his hand. His arm was disrupted, the ball came out, it was a fumble.
I would still say that the Watson against the Titans was the best game, Watson against the Ravens was the second, and this was third. In my opinion.
Wait, you've got Watson with 2 better games than Joe.
Yeah, Watson against the Ravens. He was perfect in the second half.
And he was horrible in the first half.
Led them to
He was 4 of 16 in the first half.
he led them to a victory over the best team in the AFC.
Understand, but I'm not going to give P.J. Walker points because he beat San Francisco. I'm going to judge the player on his performance.
That's a bad comparison.
And I can't take that first half in Baltimore out of the mix.
That's a bad comparison.
He was 4 of 16.
It's a bad comparison.
Well, it's got to be a full game for me. And for me, I think Joe Flacco has played the best game of quarterback. Now, the other question, too, is on the, what you're losing. I think in Nick Chubb, you're losing a top 3 at his position.
It's not even.
And I love the way you framed the argument.
Oh, thank you.
This team, well, what does it take to win a Super Bowl? We know it takes a great defense. We know it takes a good passing game.
It doesn't take a great defense.
We know it takes a good. Yes, it does.
It doesn't.
We know.
No, it doesn't.
We know.
What's the last great defense to win a Super Bowl?
Listen, don't argue with them on this. Don't do it.
I'm sorry. Only Jay's entitled to an opinion, apparently.
No.
Well, you've cut me off 3 times and dismissed my opinion in the past 5 minutes.
You're fine to have that opinion.
Okay.
What I'm saying is,
when's the last great defense to win a Super Bowl?
We've gone down this rabbit hole many times.
So answer the question. Answer the question.
Is this a passing league now, like it was 2 years ago?
Answer the question. When's the last great defense to win a Super Bowl?
We looked this up. We did the whole thing where we talked about how the Niners had a great defense.
When was that?
When they last won a Super Bowl?
When
they
was
beat
that?
Baltimore? When
did that? Was it 10 years ago?
So none of that matters. Great defenses have never won Super Bowls?
You just said you have to have a great defense to win a Super Bowl.
I believe you do.
We haven't had a great...
I believe you do.
Jay, we haven't had a great defense win a Super Bowl in a decade.
I'm going to whisper now. This is Bull taking us down a rabbit hole. Bull.
What you said was patently absurd.
Okay, fine.
It was patently absurd.
Okay, so Bull's opinion is that you don't need a great defense to win a Super Bowl.
No, you don't.
And guess what?
That's been proven with facts.
I honor and recognize the man from New York.
And that's been proven with facts.
Now, that being said,
and that's been proven with facts.
So we don't get off this beaten path and go down a rabbit hole that
I don't know why you got to bring up New York, but you like to do that.
What I'm going to say to you, Tyvis, is I love the way you framed your argument.
Well, thank you.
The thing that this team could most use now is Nick Chubb. And I don't think that's debatable. If you told me right now you can have Chubb back or Watson back, that's a decision.
And to answer the question, it was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That was a while ago.
That was 3 years ago.
When Tom Brady won?
They had to stop the Chiefs.
They didn't have a great defense.
What
are you talking about? They had Tom Brady.
That defense was the first defense to keep the safeties high and make Patrick Mahomes.
Because the Chiefs had no offensive line that year. Do you remember when they all got hurt?
True.
They didn't.
He had no time.
Defense still won them game.
Again, nobody said you got to have a crappy defense.
I'm just saying.
Their defense was good. It was fine, just like the Rams' defense was good. But they didn't. None of those teams had a great defense.
So
give me a break.
Of the 3 parts, the components, defense, we always hear in the playoffs, what travels? Defense
and the run game.
So give me those things. Now, obviously, you're going to need a passing game, too. I think the Browns' passing game, and I love the point Mary Kay made about us getting too excited because I've heard some other people make that same point.
Yeah, they did 30th in pass defense.
Don't drink too much of that Kool-Aid because we can't expect
have
that every week from Joe Flacco.
Yeah, they didn't have a number 1 corner and they didn't have a nickel.
And even with, they're 30th ranked against the pass. So I don't think we can try to extrapolate those numbers out. Joe Flacco's not going to do that the rest of the season. All that being said we had a small body of work from Watson. We have an even smaller body of work from Joe Flacco. I think Watson threw 7 touchdowns in 5 games. Flacco's thrown 5 in 2. I don't think our run game has regressed. I think our passing game has regressed. I'll make the point that it's gotten better. But I will not have to argue with anybody that our run game has regressed. We all recognize that.
We do? You just said it was elite a month ago.
It can be elite and still regressed. You lost Nick Chubb. You're going to make the argument it got better?
Of course it didn't. You're the one who said it was good. I've been saying it's mediocre the whole year.
Where are they right now? We haven't looked at their rank.
Who cares about their rank on total yards?
We don't care about that right now. Okay.
I've never cared about that, Jay. You're the only one who brings that up. I've never cared about that. Never.
They're currently, even though Bull doesn't care about rankings in this particular argument.
I have never cared about Jay.
They are currently ranked
Jay, can you give me an example of when I said total rushing yards matter?
No,
never.
Don't care.
Because I don't
remember all of those things.
Because I've never done it.
Saying is,
I'm consistent.
Right now,
I'm like you.
I love it when you poke them now. Everything's going to be a fight. It doesn't have to be a fight.
You're the one who keeps starting these things. All right, go ahead.
I started these things. I made a point about the defense has to be great, and you jumped on my
Because it's not
throat.
true.
Mom, settle this, Mike.
It's not true.
Let's move to the next topic.
Oh, no, I just want to hear G. Bush weigh in. G. Bush
Chiefs
has been
defense
silent
wasn't
about
great
10 minutes.
last year.
Y'all was supposed to skip me. I was waiting on
No,
the punt.
because I want one person here
I
to
want-
say,
I wanted to punt.
Do you,
Yorkers.
would you take Watson? Would you take Watson?
Yeah,
he is going
Jack
to take.
Conklin.
He is going to take Deshaun Watson.
Mike
Listen.
will take Watson.
All right, so
Mike won't.
so
He will.
I actually just told Anthony, I think 99 out of 100 times you take the quarterback. I actually would take Chubb in this
Yeah.
instance.
Good job.
I talked myself
Good
out
job
of
out
it
of
last
you.
night.
And Mike got
Jason took Watson, though. Jason took Watson.
Mikey got a put that little sneaky little stat up there when he plays the full games. You gotta
Steve, give me 13.
Yeah, yeah.
Who,
he got
Deshaun?
yeah, he put it in. He don't give you no context on it. You look at this, you like, oh, this is a no-brainer. The only reason I'm pausing here is because the 14 out of 14 on the bad ankle.
Was no arm.
Oh, bad arm.
Yeah, arm.
Bad arm, but he was hurt. He was hurt before he had an ankle injury too.
Did he have an ankle?
Yeah,
He had a broken.
the
He
sprained
did that with a
ankle.
broken
He
shoulder.
did that with a broken
Not against
shoulder.
the 30th ranked defense,
And
but
an
one of
ankle.
the best defenses in the league.
And he did that, and he beat the best team in the league on the road.
He did.
I can't just not see that. I can't.
You got a point.
I mean,
G, can I give you a counter? I'm not a counter, but a supporting argument. The way I looked at this question was, if you had that version of Deshaun Watson, which we had seen him rising, he was playing better, could you win a Super Bowl with Jerome Ford and that version of Watson?
heck yeah.
Or on the flip side, can you win a Super Bowl with Nick Chubb and Joe Flacco?
I think you can win with
I
both.
think you can win it both ways.
Heck yeah.
Both.
That's the problem.
Win it both
Yeah.
ways.
Like, because Nick Chubb, Nick Chubb gives you something when there's no line. It don't even matter.
But
I think
there's-
they
but
got
there's-
a better chance to win it with that Watson and Jerome Ford.
No,
Yes, they do.
no. There is a one thing in this whole argument that makes me go with Joe and Nick. Joe's did it.
He has.
And everybody
Yeah.
talks about Eli Manning's performances
Yeah, but that
when
was
he went
10
on
years
the
ago.
when he went on the road and did Joe Flacco's Super Bowl performance was
He was
his
great.
run in the
He was
playoffs
great.
is
No,
up
he's done
there.
it. He's done it. There's got to be something
I'm buying.
that counts for something.
I'm buying the Joe. I trust me. I bought the Joe Flacco. Dang, man, I'm gonna have to say this.
You feel like he can stay healthy for another 8 games to win the Super Bowl?
I got G in a mental press.
I mean, listen,
That's a
you
big-
feel like Deshaun can stay healthy for
No,
another
I don't.
We've seen that movie.
I don't think any quarterback can stay
But
healthy right
the
now.
thing for me is, like, I love Deshaun, but the last time Deshaun was, I can't get the Kansas City, the Texans versus Kansas City game out of my head, and I think that bothers me a little bit. Where I know, at least with Joe, at least I know he's done it and he's won it all, so it's like he knows what it takes to get there. Deshaun hasn't.
Deshaun won a national championship. Come on, Ty.
It's not the NFL. It's
That's
different.
a bad comparison.
So did
Look at all
I.
the Heisman
So
trophies
did
winners in
I.
college
Let me Nuggets. So did I.
You
And
never
for
take
some reason,
You're
I am sitting here
I
today. So
will say this.
what are we talking about?
I'm curious if you agree with this. For the rest of this year, it makes sense. I'm in agreement with you guys. I would take Nick Chubb for the rest of the year. If it's the offseason and I said I can only bring back either Watson or Chubb,
No,
next
that's
year,
different.
Yeah,
then I would
Watson.
bring back Watson.
Yeah, that's
For
different.
right now.
For right now,
for
I would
today,
bring back Chubb.
For today.
Crazy, but I
It's a
would.
clean sweep.
For today. If you said Nicholas Chubb is back in the Browns uniform and he is Nick Chubb,
And the trade-off is you got to go with Flacco at quarterback.
yeah, I think the Browns would go. I think they wouldn't lose no more.
I'm not prepared to go that far.
But I think Nick Chubb is that special to where now it's just
It gives you another.
it gives a
offense.
whole nother thing. It's a whole
What's sad is
nother-
we couldn't get all of them lined up at the same time.
Yeah, it just hurts. It hurts, but it's very. Listen, let me just be clear.
It's close.
It's very close.
That Deshaun Watson that I seen against the Ravens, that's different. That's a special. He gets people to play harder. Like the fact that he came in and they was writing him off. Listen, and by the way, the Tennessee Titans, I think 4 footballs hit the ground. 4. Like, let's not act like Deshaun Watson was not that
Yeah,
dude.
G, if we wanna talk- if
The
we
problem
wanna
was
talk
we only
numbers-
saw it for that game.
Yes.
And then the half of the Ravens game.
Yeah.
If we had seen it, If we had seen it more, I would have taken
I
Watson.
would have
No
took. I would
brainer.
have took Watson. It's
If
close,
you could
though.
guarantee me we get that Watson, I'd take Watson.
Because there were, for every one of those, there was a 12 for 25 and 135 passing yards.
Yeah, there was a couple of those.
I can't wash those out of my mind
And
either.
if we're talking numbers, just numbers, that Tennessee game he threw for 289, 2 touchdowns. He had 40 yards and a touchdown taken off the board by.
Oh, that was that
touchdown.
should have been a
So if you
touchdown.
really want to look at the actual totality numbers of what it probably should have been, 330 and 3, which then we can't argue that anything Flacco does better. But that was fun, guys. I
Still is
appreciate
what it
you guys
is.
playing along. I enjoyed watching that. Hopefully the chat did. I asked the chat, by the way, and the poll results in the chat were 76% for Chubb, 24 for Watson. So
got that
very
one.
similar to how we
job.
kind of looked at it. We do have
I'm
to talk
actually
guard.
surprised it's not higher for Chubb.
Bo, what you
People
gonna say?
so prisoner of the moment. Sorry, Mike. What?
Did you say you were surprised it wasn't higher?
I'm surprised it wasn't higher because we're all kind of prisoner of the moment, right? And right now
Yeah.
Flacco's played well,
Yeah.
and the running game's not very good. So
Yes. I look. If they make the playoffs,
yeah.
they're going to make it a lot easier offseason, right? Because if you look at it, I'm excited. We didn't get to see Deshaun Watson or Nick Chubb. We saw none of that. We got one game of it. We didn't get that justice
One
search.
full
He
game.
did get hurt in the second game.
We got one game
yeah.
with
First
Deshaun
quarter
Watson.
of the
One and a half.
season. Yeah.
So
By the way, even though it was a bad track, the one game where we did get to see it looked pretty good.
Well, I mean, it was perfect
24-3.
because you couldn't throw the ball because of the elements, but you had that dominant
And
run
that's
game
why
that you know
that's why a
for.
runner like Chubb is such a luxury when you have to play cold weather games,
Especially with this
wet,
offensive
sloppy
line.
tracks.
With
I
this-
don't
it
think
helps.
in general running backs are worth wins that often.
don't
But
know.
I believe if the Browns had Nick Chubb, and there's no way to prove this, and it's silly to say, but I'll say it anyway. I think if the Browns had Nick Chubb, they have 10 wins right now.
How many games?
Wow.
How many games?
I
have
would
we-
definitely agree with that
Yeah.
poll.
I wonder how many
at
games
least.
that we had the league.
They
and we
would've won the
kinda
Pittsburgh
lost.
game.
We lost the league. Has that happened to us?
Well,
The
Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh-
but he was off the field by that point.
Right.
Remember, they had negative yards in the fourth quarter, and we had a lead going into the quarter,
Right.
and they beat us because of the strip.
Browns
sack.
win that game, no
Fumble
doubt.
touchdown.
that's what I'm saying. We would
The
because
Seattle game is
a lot
another
of
one that I think
Seattle-
we win.
we
if
would have
have
won
Nick
that because
Chubb.
we would have ran the ball third and
That's
third.
11 wins right there.
And
we
even-
would have run the ball on third and
And
three.
even
yeah.
the Denver game, they would have ran the ball a lot more.
You
had
can
they
make
had
an
Chubb.
argument for the Denver
Season
game
looks
too.
completely different if 24 doesn't go down.
God.
It does suck. I appreciate y'all having fun with that. 'Cause I know it's
By the way,
hypothetical,
if
but
we had
thank
to
you
pick
guys.
one other player besides those two, who would you pick?
We got 2 minutes here.
to come back.
You got
Conklin.
I'd say
Conklin,
God,
Dawand
Jones
Jones.
played so well in his absence.
give me.
Jacob Phillips, Jakeem Grant.
No,
I don't think so.
it'd have to
I'm
be.
just naming guys
It would
on
have to be a
IR.
lineman.
I
because-
would say Dawand Jones even more than
I
Conklin.
would
Yeah,
too.
I
I
would
would say
agree.
Dawand Jones as well
would
because
too.
the Conklin thing, we didn't feel that dinged by it because
No.
Dawand Jones came in and played so well. And I know we're not factoring the money into this thing, but the
Yeah.
amount of money that the Browns allocated for Conklin, particularly now knowing what Dawand Jones can be,
Yeah, that
yikes.
sucks.
That
bet-
money's going to hurt.
They better start transitioning somebody today.
The answer
Because think about it. Conklin is coming back. Dawand Jones is coming back. And Jedrick Wills is coming back. That's 3 tackles for 2
somebody gonna be a
positions.
swing.
I
Yeah.
think that Dawand Jones has got to start. Next
Somebody
year.
got to be a
There's-
swing.
I agree with that.
He has to.
So who
Conklin's
gonna be the
highest paid
swing?
tackle.
I might
Can't
just
play
eat
the
the money
left.
and cut Conklin, or try to trade him or something.
Has
but-
he ever played left tackle?
Conklin has
I don't
not
think
played
so.
left
Not
in
that
the
I know
pros.
of.
Dang. So nobody, only person that's ever played left
The
tackle.
guy
is
that's built
Jed.
like the left tackle is Dawand Jones.
I agree.
I mean, maybe this offseason you put him into a real strict laboratory where
So
he's
you-
working with left tackles to get that footwork right. And I know it's tough. I know it's not an easy transition.
So
but
would you put Jed at right for Conklin at right?
Jed would be the odd man out. I would put Dawand Jones
Even after
at
he
left.
played this well, you would put Conklin back
Jed
there?
Yeah,
played
because
well?
if you have a healthy Conklin, even though he's at the end of his
couple
rope,
of games we seen him, he was
Okay, he can do a little better.
He was
no,
was
you know
playing
what?
better.
That he looked better because he would look so miserably terrible early to start the season, and I can't forget about that. He can still be that guy.
Well, speaking of money issues, and we do got to touch on this because we teased it yesterday. The Guardians, we know, don't spend a lot. However, they did spend twice as much on Austin Hedges that the Dodgers are paying Shohei.
Wait a
Ohtani.
minute.
Yeah,
Steve,
Steve, take the graphic
minute.
poll.
Nonsense.
Steve, take this is the best
Break that
graphic
down.
ever made ever in the history of the show. Next season, the Guardians are paying $2 million per home run for Austin Hedges and $2 million per RBI, while the Dodgers are paying pennies
Wait a minute.
on the dollar.
No,
for home runs
McNuggets.
for his play next year, Shohei Ohtani will be paid $70 million.
McNuggets.
That's a fact.
McNuggets, I don't like the way you introed this because you said it wrong. That's World Series champion Austin.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Shohei's never
He's
won
actually
an
Thank you
Respect
very
on that
much.
name.
Shohei's never won a World Series.
Yes,
World
let's
Series
show me the
champion.
graphic on the World Series champion.
Well, here, let's ask Austin. Austin, how do you feel about making twice as much as Shohei?
I'm the best there ever is. I'm the best that's ever done it.
Does he have that kind of accent?
He does
never
now.
heard him
Does
speak,
now. That's
actually.
that rich man.
Listen, that's World
He's
Series
been watching
champion.
How hard is
He
videos,
is.
AJ.
They paid him $4 million so he could bring back his World Series champion expertise
Let me-
to this organization.
Let me ask you a
By the way,
question. How hard is it to hit 208 in the league?
208. He hasn't even hit 208.
I'm just saying. Like, I feel like when somebody says that's so bad I can do it,
No, that's not true.
that's not true.
Yeah, that's
And
not
a lot of times. But 208,
It's still not true. That means you're getting hit one out of every.
G. Bush, that's above his career average. That was a good season.
oh,
for
so
him.
189.
one out of every 5 at bats, you got to come up with a base hit. And I know that the fans sitting at home, Bull knows the game well. Bull knows that even though God 189
crazy.
I would like to think.
I mean,
I
that
would
is
like
crazy.
to think that if the 4 of us took 100 big league at bats, we'd come away with 6 or 8 hits.
Yeah,
How many?
yeah, something like
Wait,
yes.
how many?
What? 6 or 8 hits.
Out of how many pitches?
100 at bats between the 4. So
I'm
we
going
each get
90.
25 at bats. I
Oh,
know
no,
you're
no,
going,
no,
I know
no,
you're
no.
going 25 to 25
Well,
to 25 home
you
runs.
still play, so
They'd
maybe you
have
can
to,
do.
They'd have to give us
I haven't
100.
played in 30 years
Now, I ain't
But
played
you
in
will run into
20
one.
years.
You will run into one on accident.
against a major league pitcher.
Yeah, you will. And here's
It's
how
gone.
you'll do it. First of all, I know that it sounds daunting to hit 90 miles an hour. It really isn't, guys. It isn't. I know it sounds like it is. But if you go into a cage and you take 20 pitches at 90, you immediately adjust to the quickness and the speed. You may need to start your swing the second the ball's out
How
of the
hard
cage.
do the hardest throwers in your league throw?
Well, you want us to go my league or the tournament that we just played?
The tournament you were
we
just
faced
in.
mid-80s in our tournament.
All right,
Oh,
so
that's bringing-
90
that's
for
bringing it.
guys who I haven't played 30 years. I was a solid high school player
Do you
30
think
years
you could
ago.
get one hit out of 25 at bats? I
When
do.
you- when
I
you
do.
say-
I think I could foul tip.
I'm about to say, when you say hit,
I don't know if I can get
Hit
a
the
hit.
ball.
just put it in play.
No,
can't
no,
run.
put it in a hole so you get a base
Okay,
hit.
base
I don't
hit.
know.
Yeah,
I think they throw me out from left field.
Well,
Even if I did hit it,
let me put it this way. I think there would be contact.
I think I could
That's
hit a
the
couple.
best
Of,
line
I think
you've
I
ever
could hit a
said,
couple
Bull.
of foul tips.
Now, all of that being said,
Yeah.
throw me out of
these guys like Austin Hedges, we can laugh and we can joke, and even at Miles Straw.
He'd be the best player in your league.
Oh, by a
lot.
So
my
how-
God.
So if he played in your league, how many home runs will he hit?
Well, he probably still wouldn't hit any home runs.
Well, let me ask you guys this.
I'll
in
tell
all
you why. To
seriousness.
hit home runs, some of the power has to be supplied by the pitcher. And I know that from hitting against guys that are throwing 65 a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm grunting and everything I got, and it's warning track.
Yeah.
The home runs I've hit recently have been off guys that are throwing at 80s.
So
Jay, let me ask you all a question
Yes.
for you real Guardians people out there. They spent $4 million on Hedges, and I have no issue with the deal, but we know the Guardians run a tight ship. Their budget is not exponential. Is
Right.
there a chance this is their move of the offseason?
Oh, God, it better not be.
Don't say
Yes,
that.
yes.
The Guardian, I don't know how much they paying Ben Lively, who they just signed this morning.
$750,000.
How much?
$750.
By the way, Ben Lively, who they signed this morning, who's probably going to be their 5th starter, he is the first starting pitcher, and I'm not 100% sure he's going to be a starter, but I'm going to say he'll be their 5th starter or swing starter.
Yeah.
He's the first starting pitcher they've signed in free agency in how many years?
I can't remember the last one they did.
Take a guess.
Well, I'm going way back. They signed Wayne Garland,
Well, it's not that long.
and that was 1976.
No, it's
I'm
not
thinking-
close to that long.
Was it Oral Hershiser?
No, it's much more recent, but
Oh,
not.
okay.
I was gonna say Dennis Martinez.
Well, the reason I say it, Bull, is because they've had such a good track record
Yes.
of developing starters.
Yes.
But, okay, if it's much more recent than
Yeah.
that, was it an older vet that they were bringing in?
He was like a guy who was a top prospect and kind of became a journeyman. I don't even know if you remember.
I don't know.
Probably remember. 2014, Gavin Floyd. You
Yeah, I do
him?
remember when they signed Gavin Floyd.
That was 9 years ago. Now, a lot of that's been because of the pitching. They've had developed the pitching. And this guy did actually pitch well in Korea.
What was
and
his
did
record in Korea?
I don't know his record, but he did well. And last
ERA
year he pitched for the
decent?
Reds, though. He
Okay.
pitched for the Reds last year and did a nice job in his swing role. But he's a fifth
He's
starter.
a flyer at a low price.
And that's fine, and normally I wouldn't care that you spend $4 million on a backup catcher. I only care because I don't expect to spend any money, so why do that?
Yeah, I don't know why they're doing that either when they've got young catchers that they want to develop.
Right.
I mean, does that mean that I don't know what
Bo
that
Naylor.
means for Bo Naylor.
No, I think he's just a backup. Bo Naylor's got to play 120 games.
Yeah, but so you don't think Bo Naylor's on the major league roster next year?
No. Bo Naylor's playing he's the starting catcher.
So who's the backup catcher? I mean, if it wasn't for Hedges, don't they also have another catcher in the system?
No,
that,
they traded
Zunino.
Bethencourt.
that's right.
They
They did.
claimed
They did.
him off waivers, and then they traded him when
Right.
they signed Hedges. Yeah.
So
But
this,
that guy
this
you
does
could-
fill a need then, Bull.
But you could have kept that guy. You were probably only paying him $1 million. I mean, that's $3 million shouldn't matter, but for them it does.
Particularly, it matters because what else are they going to spend?
Nothing.
I have to
Not
believe
a
they're going to
dime.
make a
They
trade.
could have got Otani for $2 million.
By the way, you want me to see Jay? You want to say Jay?
Terrible.
You want to see Jay lose his mind? Really lose his mind?
Yes.
And not just because of arguing with me. Yesterday, I heard a rumor rumor. It was Hoinsey that put something out there.
Yeah.
He said the Guardians are having discussions about trading Josh Naylor.
I saw that. I saw
He's
that on
their
Twitter.
only.
Why?
He's their second best hitter.
I saw that on Twitter yesterday, too.
Bull, if that happens, they're going full-on rebuild, and that means Bieber's gone, which I
Yeah.
think he likely is anyhow.
Yeah.
That also
Clase.
means Clase's gone. If
You
they,
have developed. He's the only hitter you've developed.
if they do that, and I'm Jose Ramirez, I immediately
Oh
go in
my
and say,
God.
trade me. Immediately.
I
do not want to be.
He want his money. He want his money back that he didn't get.
Well, you know what he's going to be? He's going to be the mansion in the most blighted part of Cleveland.
Yeah.
With nothing in it.
Why would you ever want to be that guy? I think when he gave Cleveland the hometown discount,
he thought it was more.
He was assuming that they would take the offset
Yep.
and
Mhm.
invest in other players.
Fleece.
Haven't done that.
What everybody thought.
And you know what's a
I,
shame?
I would want out. If
They
I'm Jose
lied. They
Ramirez, I
lied
would
to
not
him.
blame him.
He's their second best power hitter.
Yeah, he's their only other power hitter.
That's it.
That's they only have Ramirez.
Why would you
and
trade
They just signed
Naylor?
Austin Hedges. Don't forget, Hedges is now third.
God, they better not do that.
Well, why they need to, it's only one person that can save them. Franmil Reyes.
Oh God.
How about we do this? How about we put a poll up? Who should go, Naylor or Nolan?
By the way,
Dolan, I'm sorry.
By the way, I don't know if you saw it.
Naylor or Dolan?
No, definitely. I think 100% Nolan.
So-
by the way, did you know that in the last 7 years, 8 years? I can't remember the exact amount of years. Michael Brantley is the only Guardians outfielder to hit 20 home runs.
Did you and I talk about that?
That's
I think I
crazy.
put it in one of our chat
I was
groups.
talking about that with one of our
That's
producers upstairs.
He's the only
guy.
one in like almost a decade
Bull at a position where you have to have power.
where there's power all over
Like
the place.
you need to have home run hitters in
And-
the outfield.
and I didn't say 40 home runs or 30. I said
20.
20.
We can't get Cody Bellinger.
I want to
could,
count.
but
I
they're not
want to
gonna
count
spend the
somebody.
money.
I don't count pockets often.
Come on, man.
But even if they offered the deferred deal, so Tony says, "I want to play in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I'll give you the same deferred deal." Do you think the Dolans would have
No
done it?
chance.
no, absolutely not.
They're going to have to.
$700 million? I'm looking for them to spend $100 million.
Who
on
do you
a
think
player.
you the kid now?
Gee,
Chelsea
the
Clinton?
Guardians roster last season
After
on
these
opening
10
day-
years, they're going to be paying him $68 million a year.
$700 million. Who do you think you kid
You
now?
got
Chelsea
enough
Clinton?
time to put it in an account, get some interest off of it, and pay him.
G. Bush, the entire starting
gonna get
lineup
that
last
much
year
interest.
for the Guardians was $89 million.
So hold on, the whole entire what?
The whole
Their
roster is
opening day
$89
roster
million.
last year was $90 million.
And it's going to be around the same number, maybe less, this year.
No, I got one thing.
We
to
got some super chats though, guys.
Super
We got
chats.
some super
We got
chats
some-
in, and super chats are brought to us by PCC Airfoils. So if you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, PCC Airfoils is the leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils at Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus you can apply
Mike.
online at precast.com/careers to learn more.
Mike, I'm sorry to cut you off. We have breaking news, and it's not good. And I can't believe I'm saying this about this player. According to Jordan Schultz of Bleacher Report, Jedrick Wills had arthroscopic surgery this morning on his knee and will miss the remainder of the season.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So now Jedrick Will's out for the year.
You hate to see it.
Someone sent me this in an email. Is it worth discussing, because I don't think it is, but I'd throw it out there. Is it worth discussing that this could be an organizational problem with all these injuries, or it's, in other words, strength and conditioning?
They're usually fairly healthy.
Put that on the list for tomorrow.
There was only 2 that we had until we started that Watson or Chubb conversation. We got like 20 now. So I got to run through these pretty quickly. Matthew Culpa says, the coaching staff has shown they'll have the next man up ready. Young Majestic said, you guys get paid off media, so cameo's okay, but active NFL athletes charging is ridiculous. Peter R. says, the PFF is a bell curve, not a school grading method. Charles T. said, G. Bush during that Watson-Chubb conversation has to be dying. Rakisan1187 says, Bulls crying about being cut off while cutting off Jay. How's it feel?
We both cut each other off the same.
Darryl says, we win when we don't run double reverses. I like Kevin. Don't get too Franksky playbook. Run, play action with Waka Flocka Flacco. Sir Grizz says, bull off the top rope with the 5-star frog splash. Now that's a visual.
What is that?
Set apart lad. It's a WWE move.
Rob Van Dam did it in WWE.
Like when they jump off the top rope in WWE.
Do the frog.
Set apart lad says,
I'm known for that too.
The Browns is a team no matter who's at quarterback. And Charles T. with the super chat of the day says, this is a Cleveland sports show. All this winning has gotten us off track. This is Cleveland Browns mock draft season. Give me Ladd McConkey, the white receiver out of Georgia.
Who's that, Charles T?
Charles T.
That guy's spending a small fortune on super chats.
We love Charles T. We love him.
Keep it coming.
Before I get cut off, don't be robbing Keenan Bailey, the tight ends coach, man. He came to Ginn Academy and he got his car robbed, man. That's messed up.
Is that true?
Today. Or it was either yesterday or today. He got robbed.
You know what? That's despicable.
It's a shame.
That is despicable.